Sixers, and Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Live on a Thursday, Chickies and Pete's, Atlantic City, Tropicana, everybody. What's going on? This is the Sports Bash, live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, live video, streaming on the X platform, YouTube, at Mike Gill Show. We are busy today. We're on the road at the Chickies and Pete's. We hope it's not for the last time this season. That will be dictated by the Eagles and the Niners on Sunday. We're heavily going to dive into that game today. Football at 4, Andrew DiCecco's here today. DiCecco Joyner, one thought every game. A little Phillies news today. Anybody watch the Sixers last night? The big three. Did you see Nick Nurse's face when he was giving some details on something? We'll talk about that coming up. I'm your host, Mike Gill. Pete G is back. He is my on-site producer.
Happy
Josh
New Year,
Henning
sir.
is back in the
or is it too late for
Ocean
that?
Casino Resort Studios. Well, Larry David said it's too late.
Yeah, it's way too late, according to Larry David.
Way too late. It was last Saturday was the last day that you could wish somebody a happy birthday. So should we stick to that, or Happy New Year to you?
Well, it's the first time I'm seeing you in the new
Did
year.
you get stuck in Florida?
I was delayed a little bit.
Yeah.
With, all that stuff going on. So
you were supposed to get back in time, and then you got stuck down there a little extra time. You could get stuck in worse places.
That's true.
Nice weather down there?
Nice weather. And, of course, I got the vouchers for another trip
for your inconvenience?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, so the Eagles are playing the Niners, as we now know, of course, after everything shook out on Sunday. A couple things. One, this game, here's a question I have for people. Vic Fangio, Kyle Shanahan. Who you got? Who do you think is the bigger, you want that guy on your side? He's calling plays, Vic Fangio's defense, or Kyle Shanahan calling offense? I saw a stat today that Kyle Shanahan's offenses have averaged 19 points a game against Fangio's defenses.
It's actually less than that. If you go just with Fangio, because his defenses overall, he scores a little bit more against guys like Jonathan Gannon.
Well, the number that I had saw was 19. Maybe it's wrong, but it was 19 points a game against Fangio defenses, wherever Fangio has been. Detroit, Chicago, Miami, here, there, everywhere. And those things are interesting. It's like, is it something about the style of their defense that your style of offense just isn't a good matchup for? Or is there something that they can try to exploit? The Eagle defense is healthy. It is ready to go. It is pretty much at full strength. The only thing, and on the flip side of stuff here, I saw a comparison about this. I forget who posted this on Twitter the other day. But the last 3 years, the Eagles have had like 21 of 22 starters in the playoffs for like 3 straight years. Meanwhile, the Niners have had, I think it was at least 10 guys out for playoff games. Like, the difference is, and that is something that, do you give that credit to a guy like Nick Sirianni? Does the lack of credit go to Kyle Shanahan? And it was something that Javon Hargrave talked about when he went to the 49ers about the difference in the practices. You remember that? And everybody looked at it as a good thing, or a bad thing, I mean. Like the Eagles don't practice hard enough, and that the Niners practice really hard. Well, the Eagles are healthy, and the Niners are not. And I always look at it. People say this guy's injury prone, and I always say you're not injury prone if you break your leg or something to that effect, an ACL injury. There's nothing you can really do to prevent that. But the soft tissue injuries that a lot of these guys, and you're looking at some of the things that are wrong with the Niners players for this game. You got a lot of hamstring situations. You got some groin stuff. You got some soft tissue stuff. And you wonder how much of that is the way they practice, the way they do things. I do know this. If I was to say, though, do you like the Niner offense with Shanahan or the Eagle defense with Fangio? Who you got?
Are you talking just overall or in this specific matchup?
What unit? Yes, in this specific matchup.
I'm going to go Fangio.
What unit do you have more trust in?
I'm going to go Fangio just because of the history's there. I mean, every time this guy faces Shanahan, he stops his offense. And if you look back over the years, you talked about it, the numbers are 11 points, 6 points, 15 points, and 9 points. Those are the offensive outputs that Shanahan has given Fangio over the years.
Now,
that's not a lot.
Was Fangio – the Niners played here. What year was that? It was 2023. Fangio wasn't here yet.
Fangio was not here. That was Sean Desai.
That was the Desai-led Eagles defense.
And Robert Saleh on the other side was not there either.
No, that year was Steve Wilkes, but he was still running Saleh's defense.
Okay.
Well, Saleh's defense has given Jalen Hurts all sorts of problems.
Correct. That's what I was getting at, yeah.
That has been a stat that has been out there this week as well. That Saleh. Now, by the way, Saleh is a very good defensive coordinator. He got himself a head coaching job because of his defense, and now he's gone back to the place where he had those great Niner defenses. The problem this time is doesn't have great talent on those defenses. This is not a talent-laden roster, and it's even more decimated by the injuries. So I'm looking at the Shanahan offense. I'm trying to match up where the Niners would think on offense that they can kind of design something. Does anybody have like a thought that would worry you about the Niner offense against Vic Fangio's defense?
I would say that it comes down to the Bears game because the Bears ran a lot of misdirection. They used a lot of we think we're running one way, we're going to run the other way. And I think we all can agree that Christian McCaffrey is better than DeAndre Swift.
I definitely think that answer's probably, if not the highest on the list, very, very high. I was going to go down that road as well, is they run the ball with a lot of unique – they're not a physical run team. They're more of a technical run team.
And CMC did not have a good year on the ground. You know, his numbers came through the air.
I'm glad you said that too, because you got Nakobe Dean coming back with the hamstring, and I wonder if you're Kyle Shanahan, if you're trying to design something this week, how can I get somebody matched up with Dean? And that would be the running back, right?
Absolutely.
Christian McCaffrey. How can I get Christian McCaffrey out in space and have Nakobe Dean test out that hamstring and make him kind of defend? That's something, if I'm the Niners, that's kind of how I'm entering this game this week, trying to figure out, okay, how can I devise something? What am I going to try to do? Josh, the one thing you mentioned, run the ball with some misdirection. And then, Pete, the thing that you mentioned, can I get CMC the ball through the air matched up with Nakobe Dean? I think that's their best paths to try to get something going offensively, because one area where I think if you're an Eagles fan, you got to feel pretty good with Vic Fangio is I don't see the big play. I don't see them taking the big shots down the field and having a lot of success with their wide receiving core, and that's including if Ricky Pearsall comes back. I think they're limited. Their wide receiving core is limited. You have the advantages pretty much across the board in the secondary.
Correct.
So I like that matchup. So to me, this screams of kind of a low-scoring, grind-it-out, rock fight type of game. So thinking about that this morning, it's okay. What is the matchup that I would be worried about the most? It would be McCaffrey in both the run game, misdirection, sweep, that kind of stuff, and then McCaffrey in the short passing game.
Which
I
means
think
scheme,
everything
which
they
means
do.
Shanahan has to scheme up.
Yeah, but I think
I
think everything. But to me, doesn't that play in the Eagles' hands? Although, I mean, listen, if you're San Francisco, you probably don't think Philadelphia can score more than 3 touchdowns on you.
Right.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
So let's keep everything short. Let's keep everything simple. Let's not turn the ball over. Let's put the ball in the hands of our best player as much as we possibly can. If it just shortens the game, it runs the clock. and we try to win this game 18-16, 20-15, 20, 14,
Yeah, because
2017.
Because of the fact that you have a team in the Eagles that has shown you that they do not have the consistency in the play calling to scare anybody. No one's walking around scared of, oh, here comes the Eagles offense.
Well, yes and no. They're not scared of the scheme. They should be scared of the personnel. And that's an odd thing to say, right?
Yeah.
It's odd, but it's not, because it's something that other people have said as well. The idea that, on paper, the Eagles have the people that scare you. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, Hurts is Super Bowl MVP. But what has happened on the field has not been something that anyone is like, oh, man, watch out for that play or that situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The scheme doesn't scare you, but the personnel does.
The ability.
Like, they have A.J. Brown. I do get worried about him if I'm Robert Saleh. They do have Devontae Smith. He worries me, but it's how they use those guys that doesn't worry me as much. Now, I will say it is 11 minutes into the show, and one of the big things that we haven't really discussed yet is you have Saquon Barkley in the run game here. And you have an opportunity to run the ball against this defensive front, which is not great. They don't rush the passer very well, right? They're worst in the league in rush in sacks. They're worst in the league in
20 sacks total.
Right.
I mean, that's unheard of.
The whole season.
The whole year.
I think I read something.
games.
It's the fourth lowest amount of sacks in a season in history.
Yeah.
That's impossible. But
It just shows you how injured they are.
Would you guys, everybody out there listening, 609-403-0973, think that you want to pound the rock this week and run the ball? And because yesterday, Nick Sirianni, basically said that we found we know what our identity is. I would question that. Does anybody else know what their identity is?
I'm not buying that. No, I'm not buying that.
Oh, I know what their identity is. Their identity is they don't have an identity.
Their identity is 1st and 10 turns into 2nd and 12.
Yeah, their identity seemingly has turned into 3 and out. That's, to me, their identity.
Yeah.
They go 3 and out 30% of the time.
Consecutively, too. I mean, we've seen them go 3 and out 4 times in a row, 5 times in a row.
So to win this game on Sunday, are you run first, or they can't rush the passer, they don't get much pressure, let Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith win the game? Which way you going?
I'm going to let those guys cook.
Woo-hoo.
I mean, I'm going to, again, this defense cannot get to the passer, so I'm going to look for the explosive plays down the field. It's time.
Is that the route you're going there, Josh?
Listen,
Or do you want this to be a Barkley game? Because I said it took us 10 minutes to get to Barkley. But is this a Barkley game with the offensive line? You got Bryce Huff, not a good run stopper up front.
Not at all.
No, we know that Bryce Huff couldn't get on the field here because he couldn't stop the run. And I would imagine the Eagles are saying, okay, where is Bryce Huff on the field? Let's go after that guy.
Listen, I would run at Bryce Huff and then play action.
This is where
that's what right after it.
Remember, I was off the day that he said this, but John McMullen asked Kevin Petula about, asked him a question, and his answer was, sometimes you run just to run the ball. Like sometimes we run the ball just to run the ball. And
the fan base did not like that answer.
People went ballistic. They were up in arms about it. But I didn't have a problem with it, but I don't have a problem with what he said. I have a problem with the execution of it. Here's what Kevin Petullo said that had a lot of people up in arms.
I mean, there was a couple plays where we were just running to run it, right? And so we got to do a good job of making sure we put everybody in the best position to do what they need to do, and then we have to execute that play once we get those called. So, some runs are, hey, we're running it no matter what. Some other things have some options off it. Just depends on how the play goes in.
Now, people went crazy about that. Did you have a problem with what he said there, guys?
I mean, that was in the Buffalo game, right? I didn't have a problem with what he said there.
I have a problem with it because it shows how tone deaf he is. Like, that's not the answer.
But in the context of that game, it was.
See, to me, it doesn't matter because saying that you're running the ball to run the ball tells everybody that you don't actually have a plan. Now, if you came out and said, listen, we need to run the ball to set up the pass, or we need to sometimes to run the ball just to give the defense a different look, I think we all would react differently. I think it was the delivery of what he said.
I mean, in that context, they were trying to play keep away from Josh Allen. It was raining. They had a 13-0 lead in the second
But see, you're
half.
explaining it better than he did, Pete, and that's the problem with Patullo.
Here's the problem I had with it. I don't have a problem with what he said. People were up in arms. Sometimes we run it just to run it. Wait, what? What are you talking about? I think if he would have explained it better. Here's the problem.
Exactly.
You run it just to run it. I agree with you. Sometimes it's, we're going to run this ball. You're not checking out of this play. Why? Because I'm trying to set up a play for later on in the game. We're going to run it out of this formation. I want to show them this formation multiple times so that when they see this formation again down the line, they think they have us, and we're going to build off of that play, and we're going to build off this formation, and we're going to run it at their worst run stopper 3, 4, 5 times. Make that guy make plays. And if he keeps making plays, tip your cap to him. But eventually, one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to revert back to the guy that we saw on tape who can't stop the run, and we're going to beat him there, or we're going to set up another play somewhere later on down in this game that we just say, hey, I saw this formation. They're going to run it again. 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 So, yeah, you run it just to run it if later on you're going to do something else out of that formation.
Well, why couldn't Patullo say that?
Well, I am getting to the point where I think Patullo really doesn't have much of a clue of what he's doing, sadly.
Welcome to the party.
Listen, I kid a little bit here because I talked about this yesterday. Kevin Patullo is in a tough situation. He's got a run-based offense, a run-first offense, with a team that right now's offensive line is struggling to run block. It's hard to call run plays when the execution is not there, right? If I say we're going to run the ball on 1st and 10, I hand it off, and Tyler Steen gets pushed into the backfield 2 yards, and we only get a yard on the play, and it's 2nd and 9, now my play is kind of blown up. I was anticipating that call getting me 4 yards, and that changes the dynamic. Now it's 2nd and 6.
And that call got 4 yards last year.
All the time.
2,000 yards worth.
All the time. All right, text board 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. We'll take a bunch of texts. We're wide open today. All right, a lot of show with you guys out there. Your text messages will read and react throughout most of the day. We're going to get into all the stuff that we're kind of talking about. We threw a bunch out there. Shanahan-Fangio, that's one matchup. Patullo-Saleh, I think you got to go Saleh on that side, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that one's a lot less close than this Fangio-Shanahan.
And Shanahan's the best in the business to me. When it comes to scheme and play calling, he's the best in the NFL.
Also, improvisation. He's great at saying, hey, I got this quarterback who has limitations. I'm going to cover up his limitations and amplify what he's good at.
Well, listen, Vic Fangio is very good at taking away your best thing and then making you do things. So we'll see, because right now their best thing is Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, those two guys. They don't have a lot of weapons on the outside. Now, on the other side of things, if you are Robert Saleh, are you helping out to stop the run? Do you want them to pass? Or are you saying, we think your offensive line is as big of a problem that it has shown that it is, so we're going to put more in coverage this week?
Can we say all the above?
It's hard to do, because I think it's one of the big problems that –
and their secondary stinks too.
Their secondary is not great, yes. I think it's one of the big problems of the Eagles' offense. It's one of the underrated problems that the Eagles' offense has had.
Well, it goes back to what Nick Foles said on his podcast, where he said, if the Eagles actually let their players do what they do, they would have success. Take a listen.
If they figured this out, no one can beat them.
Mm-hmm.
If they could figure this out, no one can beat them.
Like last year.
Exactly. They have it because their defense and their special teams is dialed. So I still think they're dangerous going into the playoffs if they can somehow figure out and get out of their own way and, just let those players cook. Let them play. You have some of the most dynamic receivers in the game. You have two of them on the same team. You have Saquon Barkley back there.
Nick Foles sounds a lot like Mike Gill. I mean, I come in here all the time, and I'm like, you guys, I don't understand how Patullo can go home at night and look at himself and say, I got these weapons, and I stink. I can't figure out how to score. And I'm at the point, guys, I'm not even asking them to score more points. I'm just asking them to hold the ball an extra minute or two. Don't go 3 and out 30% of the time. Let me ask you guys this question, and everybody out there listening. How many more games would they have won this year if their 3 and out percentage was just league average?
At least 2 more.
Yeah, probably the Dallas
What is the
game.
league average for that, by the way? Does anybody know? You know how to find that?
I can look it up.
What's the league average for 3 and out percentage? And just think about how many games Philadelphia should have won had they just not gone 3 and out 30% of the time.
Denver
Again,
game, no question.
Denver game, that one sticks out. Charger game, probably, right? The only game this year that they lost where they absolutely lost the game.
Well, 2, Chicago and New York.
The Giants. The Giant game at New York Thursday night was just one of those games that you have during the course of the year where you look at the schedule and you say, how the heck did that team beat that team? That's the one. And everybody has one. You know, the Rams lost at Carolina. Everybody has that kind of game where you're like, how did this happen? That game, they just got beat. And you said the Bears game, even in the Bears game, they had a shot to win that game, right?
They did, but they were just totally manhandled.
They did get
Down on the
beat up.
rock,
They
Chicago,
did. They got physically beat up front. But if they don't turn the ball over in that game, they're still in the game. They still had a shot to win that game. Was that the game they went for 2 and didn't get it?
Yes.
And then
that
was that the Charger game?
They went for 2 when they didn't have to.
Yeah, I think that
Charger
was the
game.
Charger
That was
game.
Monday
Yeah.
night.
Something happened in the Bears game too, where they kind of got back in the game, and then but those 2 games are the only 2 games. The other games, the Denver loss, the Cowboy loss, you're up 21-0, and they just simply couldn't keep the ball. They just couldn't get drives longer than a minute and a half.
So really quick, so the Eagles on the season, they're averaging almost 28% of the time their drives end in 3 and outs. The NFL average of all the teams is 17%. So they're 10% worse than the league average.
And listen, to me, if they're just league average, 17%, I think they probably lose 2 games this year.
So, like, who on that list are the Eagles near? Like, are we talking like Cleveland bad, Raiders bad?
I would say my guess
Jets.
is my guess
They're
is
up
going
there-
to be the
they're-
Jets. Jets,
Yep.
Raiders. It's got to be Jets, Raiders, Tennessee.
I mean, we're
Washington.
talking 2-win football teams here.
You don't even need me. You're naming all the teams already. So.
Well, this is an easy. This is
It's an easy
game.
answer.
I was talking to McMullen the other day, and I was saying, the Eagles have the worst offense in the playoffs right now. It's the worst. It's the worst offense in the playoffs. But even with that, what we just said, if they're league average 3 and out, I think they're probably 15-2 this year. What does that say? Does everybody agree or disagree with that comment? You guys agree with that?
I
a one
agree.
seed.
I think it's a big part of the conversation.
All right. We'll get into the Eagles. I see the text board going nuts. We're going to read off text messages in about 20 minutes from now. On the other side, the Big 3. That's next. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill
And it just keeps getting better.
on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, 229 Sports Bash Live today at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City at the Tropicana. So we're going to do text messages and stuff in the next hour. I do want to get into the big three last night. So did you see the stat about this? It is the first time that Nick Nurse had like the full roster. Somebody told him before the game last night that basically, hey, this is the first time you're going to have every single guy playing. He has coached however many games here, and this is only like the 19th time. I got to find the exact numbers. But here's something for you guys. The Sixers last year won the 20th game of the season last night. Last year, they won their 20th game of the season on February the 4th, which is still about a month away from now.
I was going to say, we were in New Orleans, I think.
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
This year, it took them 35 games to win their 20th game. For the first time, Josh, are you ready for this number? You're a numbers guy.
Sure.
Sports geek.
For the first time in 751 days, the Sixers played at full strength last night. Now, they absolutely took advantage of that and said, you know what? We're at full strength, and we are going to just push our big three. There was a time last night where the big three were about the only three guys that scored in the game last night. Maxey had 20. Did you hear this number? Maxey, George, and Embiid all scored over 20 points in a game together for the first time since they've been together.
And they all played less than 30 minutes.
Last night, Embiid, by the way, for the people out there who are wondering about Embiid and whether or not he was, back or this or that, I don't even think Embiid's – I said yesterday, I think Embiid's probably about 85%. And there were people saying he's cooked, he's washed, he needs to retire. And I thought those people were out of their minds. And I get the frustration with Embiid. There's no question. He is one of the more frustrating people or athletes in the city, mainly because he's so talented, and it's frustrating that you don't get to see him at his optimal talent all the time. But can we put to rest that he's, cooked?
Is his 85% now, though, his 100%?
No, I think Embiid, if you
That
watch
makes
him
sense.
2 weeks, yeah, I know what you're saying. It's an interesting point. But I think if you watched him last night, the night before, he's playing every night now. He's playing 40 minutes. He's playing every night. There's no minute restriction.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing a little bit more of him. And I think with that, you're seeing him more trusting of his abilities. Do you guys agree or disagree? Defensively, he's a lot more willing to be a weak side helper. In the beginning of the year, he wanted nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm not getting hurt. I'm not getting in the middle of this. I'm not jumping. If you're starting to watch him now, he's adding more offensive arsenal. He's doing more. He's more active. It's a night and day guy. Last night, you talk about efficiency. The first 2 weeks of the season, first 3 weeks, almost the first month and a half of the season, his field goal percentage was terrible, but he's not playing every night. He's playing this minute restriction. He's not playing, if the game was on Monday and then they played again on Wednesday, he wasn't playing because there wasn't 2 days off. Well, last night, 10 of 14. He scored 28 points last night in 25 minutes. He had 7 rebounds last night, 2 blocks.
His passing, too, is – I haven't seen him pass like that in years.
Do you guys, when he passes the ball now sometimes, it almost looks like he's got a joy in doing it. He looks like he's having fun with some of these passes.
Yeah.
Well, I think a part of it is the fact that he's like, oh my goodness, I actually have someone to pass to. I think that's what part of it is. Some of these years, he's passing to Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons just passes it again.
Last night, Maxey, 22 in 28 minutes, Embiid, 28 in 25 minutes, and Paul George had 23 in 33 minutes. It's the first time that all three of those guys. And then you look at the lineup versatility. They had Kelly Oubre. It gives the Sixers another defensive, long guy out there, and as he kind of gets his legs back under him. But the Maxey, Edgecombe, George, Barlow, and Bede, the starting unit last night, that to me was the best that game and the game in Dallas and the Knick game were like three of the best games that I've seen them play together. But last night when Nurse was told about how many games he's coached and how many games that he's actually had healthy, the reaction that he had on his face was priceless. According to Adam Aronson from Philly Voice, no Sixers were unavailable for the game last night. According to his notes, he said that was the first time that has happened for the Philadelphia 76ers since December 18th, 2023. It is the 11th time that Nick Nurse has coached a fully healthy team in his 199th game with the team. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
But that's where it's like, I hear the stats. I totally hear what you're saying, Mike. But my reaction is, I'm numb, because it's like that's the problem. The problem is this team hasn't been healthy. I think most rational people, not the keyboard warriors on social media, but most rational sports fans, they want to see Embiid out there. They want to see these guys play, but you can't trust this organization to have them out there. So there's a bit of a, okay, I mean, that was cool. That was fun last night, but what does it mean? Like, what does it mean long term?
It's a fair question, and I don't know what it means, but I think if you watch them and you say if this team's healthy, and that's always the big if, but they're starting to get a chance to play. When Maxey said it last week, I think they had just beaten Dallas, and he was asked about it, and he laughed at whoever asked the question. I don't remember who the sideline person was, if it was a national game or a local game or what, but he got asked the question, and he said, you got to remember, this is only like the fifth game we've all played together. Like, when he said that, it was such an eye-opener of these guys have only played like 5 games together. The Embiid, George, Maxey, Edgecombe, like that group. And then you throw Oubre back. Now, Oubre obviously coming back from 2 months off. Played 20 minutes last night. Didn't play all that well. I mean, he just kind of was. But his defense, I thought, was a big factor for them. Watford didn't play really. He came in late in the game. But when they get Watford and Grimes into the rotation back to like where they were, you got Quentin Grimes, who, listen, he has been one of the top 6 men in terms of scoring in the league. I mean, he comes in and gives you instant offense. I love what Bona brings you energy-wise and Drummond as a rebounder, but right now Joel Embiid is playing at a level where those guys, they're not getting the time because Embiid's starting to play 35 minutes, and he's playing 35 good minutes again. In this Eastern Conference, if those 3 guys play the way they did last night, if you can keep them healthy, I definitely think there's something there.
It's a big what if, though.
It's a big what if.
It is good to see Embiid, though, playing 5 games in a row.
There was something else on Embiid last night that I saw about, the fact that he has played, I think he's played 5 games in 9 days or something like that, like basically suggesting the restrictions are all off on him. Now, the Sixers do have a back-to-back coming up on, I think it's Sunday, Monday.
Toronto, yeah.
And they play the Raptors both games, so I imagine he'll play one of the games and not the other. And then after that, it's back to, they don't have another back-to-back, because they played a lot of back-to-backs this year already.
Way too
I
many.
think they do have another one with Cleveland coming up.
So the
Yeah, but they're playing Cleveland back-to-back, but not on back-to-back days.
Correct. Yeah, so the Toronto
Okay, I
games
gotcha.
are Sunday, Monday. Cleveland is Wednesday, Friday.
Right, but then they have a back-to-back on Monday, Tuesday with Indiana and Phoenix. Then they have another one on Monday, Tuesday with Charlotte and Milwaukee.
Who
And
makes
one of
these
those games on the
schedules?
road. I know. And then they have another one
Clippers, Warriors.
on Monday, Tuesday, February 2nd. Yeah, and that Warrior game is the one that we're going to be at.
And they're going
PG.
to lose that game now.
I don't know. I'll tell you what.
Well, just
No,
historically,
seriously, though.
teams on the road back-to-back lose.
They're still a good team without Joel
I was going to
Embiid
say,
out there.
this is the best they have been. And it's not because they're well-equipped at the backup center position. It's because they're well-equipped to win without them. I mean, with Maxey and Edgecombe and George and Grimes, they could score enough. Before, if you didn't have Embiid out there, they can't score.
And defensively, they are just a menace. Edgecombe, he is everywhere.
VJ Edgecombe, we talk about the process and losing games and what you try to accomplish. VJ Edgecombe is the kind of guy you lose games and say, I hope I end up with that guy, right? You would lose games and get in the lottery. Now, you wouldn't know that in college watching him. He's a better pro than he is a college player. We agree?
Yes.
I would say the thing about Maxey, right?
Well, 100% on Maxey.
Well, he was like a bench player in college, wasn't he?
Maxey, right. Well, remember,
Role player.
Maxey also wasn't a lottery pick.
Right.
So he has exceeded all expectations. And he's the anti-process guy, right? He's the guy who hated the process says, you didn't need to lose games to get Tyrese Maxey. Those guys are more, few and far between.
Sure.
And on the flip side, you lost a lot of games to land VJ Edgecombe, but you would have never said, I need to lose games purposely because I got to get VJ Edgecombe. Now, this draft had a ton of guys in it. It's been an unbelievable draft class. Cooper Flagg, VJ Edgecombe, the kid you saw last night, Trey Johnson, stud. Knipple. Somebody asked me this question. We actually talked about this on the Trust the Mics pod on Tuesday, which is out. You can check that out. Trust the Mics with me and Michael Kasky-Blomain. VJ Edgecombe or Knipple? Who do you think is a better fit for the Sixers?
Oh, definitely Edgecombe.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say because we're seing Edgecombe in real time with this team.
Knipple hits 43% from three.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's not why I'm saying it's what Edgecombe does on defense has been a total. We have not had a legitimate perimeter defensive player in a long time.
Well, and the one thing that you do kind of lack is what Knipple brings to the table. It is a stretch kind of catch and shoot 3-point shooter.
But couldn't you find that like at the trade deadline?
They haven't found one of those guys
since Kyle Korver.
Jeez, what do you mean? You find a guy just catch and shoot they have never had.
Ilyasova, Bellinelli.
You're going back almost 10 years.
Okay, well, it's not Kyle Korver, as Pete said. It's more
still,
recent.
That guy, that's the first guy that came to my mind of what we're
it's
talking
not too
about.
far-fetched, and you had to trade for those guys because they couldn't find it. Those guys that just stand there, catch, and shoot, the Sixers have just never – now, and I only say that, and listen, I'm not trying to say I'd rather have Knipple, who's averaging, by the way, more points per game. He's far better in terms of three. I don't say far better, but, I think he's shooting like 43%.
It's more of his strength.
He's 43.5% from three. I don't know that you're going to get that out of Edgecombe. He's also averaging almost 20 a game. I think he would be a great fit for the Sixers. But your point is valid about Edgecombe's edge. The Sixers needed that. They needed that guy that doesn't matter if he scores 8 points or 18 points. He's a big factor in why they won the game.
By the way, when the Sixers had Seth Curry, he was shooting 40% from three.
Different type of catch and shoot. He's more of a guard. I'm talking about that stretch. What this team lacks, the guy who sits in the corner, and because Embiid gets tripled, what they wanted Tobias Harris to be.
Right.
Stand in the corner, catch the ball, and shoot it. And that's
you mean what he's
job.
doing now in Detroit?
Tobias.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. He still doesn't do it at the level that you – if they had a guy that just was a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter in that corner over these years, they would have beat the Knicks a couple years ago. Then freaking series where Harris gives you a 0 in the game, right?
Yeah, but you're right. The Edgecombe has that Jimmy Butler edge to him that this team lacked, right? The Russell Westbrook edge, that type of a player that this team did not have.
Yeah, where he might not score 35, but he had 13 points, 6 rebounds.
In your face.
He made the other team, he pressured them into bad plays, turnovers, all that kind of stuff. I will say, for a brief time last night, and they were kind of down in that game early, and you're thinking, here we go again. What did I say yesterday, Josh? Bet the Sixers. They were going to blow that team out.
Well, you didn't. Well, you said they're finally healthy. You got to bet the Sixers because they're finally healthy.
Well, it wasn't that. It was because they were finally healthy, and they had lost the game on Monday night where they admitted that they kind of let their guard down. Did you hear what Embiid said after the game, his comment?
Oh,
Oh,
don't play with our – yeah.
We were playing something. But I was like, they let their guard down Monday night. They acknowledged and recognized it. Coach Jimmy Lynam talks about it all the time. That first game after the long road trip, that first home game, is always the worst game. So last night was you're at full strength. You got caught on Monday. There's no way they let their guard down against the Wizards team with all those guys out because they knew they just did it Monday, and they end up winning that game by 20 last night.
And two of their guys were fake sick for the Trae Young trade.
Yeah, and Nurse was like, oh, those guys weren't sick. I saw them standing over there.
Yeah, man.
All right, coming up, more Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, including the text board, which is jumping today with a lot of Eagles stuff. 609-403-0973. It's Wild Card Saturday on 97.3 ESPN. Packers, Bears is the late game. Rams, Panthers, the early game. Listen to them right here on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Flyers Leafs tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Listen as Tim Saunders and Todd Fedor bring you all the exciting play-by-play action.
McDavid again from the circle. His shot through, and Bladar's got it in the glove.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tonight. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Flyers hockey all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey. 97.3 ESPN. It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill
Keeping the fans entertained and happy.
on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, welcome back. Sports Bash Live, Chickies and Pete's. Go where the players go. Now, they're not going to be here to watch the game on Sunday, but you can watch the Eagles and Niners on Sunday. And you heard Wild Card Saturday right here on 97.3 ESPN. We got all the games for you, and you can come on over here and watch them on the amazing televisions inside here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I got like 20 TVs just in my view. Now, there's a whole other room. There's a whole other side of the bar over there.
A whole other
There's gotta
downstairs, right?
I don't know, do they do the downs? I actually
not.
watched a playoff game, Eagles-Saints. What year was that? They lost the game. I think Nick Foles was the quarterback.
Was that the that wasn't
2013.
okay?
There you go. Sounds about right.
Chip
2013.
Kelly's first year.
Yep, I think that's the game.
They lost the game in Philadelphia. Remember the whole thing was the Saints can't win a game on the road outside.
Outside the dome.
Well, I was here watching that game downstairs. They got that downstairs area is great. I don't know if it's open in the off season though, but they got, as I just said, 25 televisions within my eyesight, and we are sitting on the far side of the bar. So the other side has tons. All right, 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. We got a lot of text messages here. What do we got?
All right, let's kind of get some of these in here, but let's start with one text which I missed is Christian McCaffrey and Kittle. That's how San Francisco can win on offense. Eagles should win by 10 if Sirianni can't get his offensive coordinator under control.
Well, I think if the Niners win, it's because you couldn't stop McCaffrey and you couldn't stop Kittle in terms of keeping drives alive. I think if it's third down and 4, that's a bad spot for you because you got to be accounting for Kittle, short stuff over the middle. That guy's absolutely right. If those two guys had a big day, you lost, most likely. Unless they had a big day yardage-wise up and down the field, and the Eagles' defense kept them out of the end zone.
Right.
That's essentially what you're going to have to do. Those guys can have 130 yards if they don't get into the end zone, and you're kicking a lot of field goals. Because I don't think Juwan Jennings and I don't know if Pearsall's going to play. Any update on them today?
I haven't seen Pearsall practicing yet.
Well, look at Week 18. I mean, they lost 13-3 to Seattle. They didn't have anything going.
And Seattle's defense, we talked about it yesterday, is probably as good, if not a little better, or a little worse. I mean, it just depends on who's playing well that day. But if they couldn't do much, now they played Seattle early in the year. Did they play them in the opener?
San Francisco played them the first week of the year. Yes.
And it was like 17-13. Now that's so far ago. I don't know how much stock you put into that game.
Matt from KMA chimed in and says, how about the identity for the Eagles? Is there a better playoff team than they are a regular season team, as they've shown in the past?
No question. And Matt in KMA Courthouse, it's mainly because of the extra layers of the offense that you get with Jalen Hurts. He'll run the ball in the playoffs that he won't run in the regular season. He'll take more chances with his legs. I firmly think we all believe that. And if he doesn't and we're wrong, they probably lost.
I wish this texter would have left their name, but the anonymous over here says, I'm going to make the 49ers stop us. Saquon, tank, smash mouth football. Then you'll open up the downfield passing game.
You can start the game by running just to run.
That sounds good in theory.
Right, in the immortal words of Kevin Mitchell, run the ball just to run early, set up something down the field. Because if you start to run, and even if you're not having great success, 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, and you're beating them up and setting them up, it should set up for a big Devontae Smith, something down the seam, an A.J. Brown. Those plays are there, but you got to work off of them. You got to build off of them. And running the ball at this, I would look for Bryce Huff all day long and just say, we're coming right at you. It's almost like you do with Micah Parsons. Find out where he is on the field and just run right at him all day and make him stop. Make him stop you. Coming up, by the way, college football playoffs tonight, the Fiesta Bowl. That game, you can listen on Rock 104.1. The coverage starts at 7 o'clock.
The U.
It's Miami taking on Ole Miss And then on 97.3 ESPN, the Flyers take on the Leafs.
That's my game right there, baby.
You go Flyers tonight.
Oh, yeah. Scott Walton's back in town. That game against Anaheim, that fired me up, man.
Wow.
Fired me up. Yeah.
You are flyered up. All right, more text messages. We'll run the gamut of the text board coming up next.
It's the wild card round as the number 3 seeded Eagles host the 6 seeded San Francisco 49ers at the Link. Don't miss a single snap with the legends, Merrill Reese and Mike Quick, calling all the exciting playoff action.
Here comes the rush. They've got him!
Coverage begins this Sunday with the pregame at 3 p.m., followed by kickoff at 4:30. The playoffs live here. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles playoff station.
Caesars Sportsbook app is the only sportsbook app with Caesars Rewards. Bet on gridiron action, earn perks on every game, like hotel stays, bonus bets, game tickets, and more. Download the app using promo code Radio250BM and get your first bet matched as a bonus bet up to $250 whether you win or lose. Open to new users in New Jersey for 21 or older. Minimum odds minus 500. Award is non-withdrawable bonus bet expired 14 days after receipt. Bonus bet amount not returned for winning bets. Void where prohibited. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Home of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill, 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City.
All right, 3 o'clock, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. You can watch the show, live video streaming on the X platform, formerly Twitter, and on YouTube, at Mike Gill Show on a Thursday. So when I'm on the road, I don't get to see the text board. I can see it, but I don't get to see it as well than when I'm in the studio. So I see that during that commercial break, we have a lot of tonnage on the text board, a lot of texts coming in. Wild Card Weekend, 609-403-0973. I have a thought on Mike McDaniel got fired today by the Dolphins. So he is now the 8th head coach that has been fired. There's 8 openings. Mike McDaniel worked with Vic Fangio in Miami. Now, I don't know what kind of relationship they had. Was there any reports of they didn't get along or any of that?
So for those who don't remember, that year, the 1 year Fangio and McDaniel were together, that was also an in-season Hard Knocks. And it was kind of an ongoing, narrative, shall we call it, that Fangio wanted nothing to do with the Hard Knocks that year, and that the players were, shall we say, it was almost like a running joke that Fangio was too busy working to actually be part of the documentary.
Well, he hasn't been on this Hard Knocks at all either.
He has not. If you've noticed that pattern, and so
we did see Jeff Stoutland.
You've seen Stoutland plenty. You've seen Stoutland plenty. Yeah, Stoutland's willing to pose for the camera, but Fangio's not. And so, McDaniel kind of made a couple of, I don't want to say jokes at Fangio's expense, but there were a couple of moments in Hard Knocks that year where, McDaniel talked about I can't really talk about the defense because, that guy doesn't want to talk about it on camera. So there was kind of this weird vibe in the building as that season basically fell apart at the end. Fangio was there, then he was not really fired, maybe let go, mutual parting of the ways. So it was a very weird end to their relationship down there.
Well, I would say if they had a good relationship, a couple of years ago, 2022, the Eagles brought Fangio in to consult them. Now, there was a lot of reports that he was there to consult the offense, not the defense.
I don't believe that.
Well, regardless, it's not unprecedented to bring a guy in to consult. I'm
Correct.
not saying that Mike McDaniel can be brought in to run the offense on Sunday, but could you call, if you're Vic Fangio, could you call him and say, hey, Mike, our offensive coordinator is kind of having a tough one. You think you want to come down to some of our practices this week and maybe help him with a couple of, I'm not asking for much, maybe 2 pass plays.
Well, it goes back to the comment that has been mentioned by guys like, Nick Foles and Chris Long, 2 former Eagles, where they say, why can't you get somebody on a Zoom call? Just have a conversation.
Well, McDaniel's not doing anything now. He just got fired. Can you get him to stand on the practice field tomorrow?
You could do that.
And just say, hey, can you install 2 pass plays?
I'll even need you on the practice field. Go on, get on a Zoom call. We'll video you the whole practice.
Well, listen, for him to come down, hey, is there a couple things that you do really well to get the ball to Tyreek Hill? Is there a couple things that you do really well to get Waddle open? Because that's an offense that has 2 good wide receiver. I know Hill was hurt this year, but I'm talking about in the life of
during that tenure.
The Dolphins' problem has not been their offense generally. Their defense has been terrible, and that's with Fangio, by the way. I don't think it's wild to say in today's world that you could do that. The guy's fired, come on down here and help us out down the stretch here. Now, McDaniel's not the right fit for this team, says Evil Empire. He's too feminine. No, that's ridiculous. I don't care
that's
if it's
a dumb
it
comment.
could be a woman who's coming up with the play for all I care. If she's smarter than Petullo, get her out there.
Listen, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but McDaniel, his problem is not that he's feminine. Okay, he's weird, he's odd. for all I know, he might have some sort of, mental, issue that he's dealing with, but I don't think that's the issue.
Who cares? I don't care what you might perceive him to be. He's much more innovative offensively than the guy you got here.
And by the way, he actually answers questions at press conferences, unlike Patullo.
I like McDaniel, not as my head coach. As my offensive coordinator, I would have no problem with that. Bring him on in.
That's going to be interesting in the offseason because there's a lot of big names out there who are probably better suited to run an offense than Kevin Patullo is. When you
Everyone
talk about
is better suited,
Kingsbury,
probably.
Dable is still out there.
Right now,
Stefanski.
if you told me, and I'm not joking, if you told me you could fire Patullo today on Thursday, but you had to literally bring someone else in and they had to install their offense for the game on Sunday, I take my chances with somebody different. If you told me Cliff Kingsbury is going to coach the offense on Sunday, he's going to design, install, and call his plays. Kingsbury, Daboll, Mike McDaniel, I'll hand them capri pants and they can call the plays. You also wears capri pants to the guy who's on the text board?
Sean McVay.
Sean McVay's out there wearing capri pants.
He is.
You want Sean McVay calling the plays or you want Kevin Patullo, you idiot? I don't care. Put the guy in a tutu for all I care. Anybody's better than Kevin Patullo designing and calling these plays right now. I literally would say, come in here today, install your entire playbook for Sunday, and I take my chances that offense would do better than the offense you're going to get on Sunday. That's how little faith I have in this offense.
Is there anything that Kevin Patullo can do to win you back over? I mean, short of winning the Super Bowl, but even then, I think,
Is there anything he can do to win me over? I don't think that he will win me over unless they come out and show, like, people were encouraged by them against the Chargers and against the Raiders because remember, we're having this, it looked like they added some things to the offense. If they add some to the offense and they bring that stuff back, and a lot of it has to do with Jalen Hurts, one of the problems that San Francisco had against the Seahawks is defending the run to the outside. It's not something the Eagles do a whole heck of a lot. They don't pitch, they don't sweep, but you know who they can do that with? Jalen Hurts. You can run a quarterback sweep, a quarterback kind of, delay, draw, stuff that can bounce to the outside. They incorporate more of that into their offense. Then I can say, okay, Patullo's kind of been hamstrung all season long. I mean, the fact that he can't use Hurts to run as much as he wants to because he wants him to get to the finish line in one piece. I can understand that, but that's what I would need to see in this playoff run for me to kind of give him a little bit of an absolve. That being said, he's been terrible this year. Terrible.
Well, to the original question, Richard Sherman was on Nick Foles' podcast, and he says that there's a blueprint of success that Patullo should just use moving forward, and that he's to blame for not using that blueprint.
This run game where you're running counter into unblocked guys. You got 3 blockers and there's 4 defenders. And I know offenses are designed certain ways, but when you're designing plays that have no chance of success, then people are going to look to you. They're not going to look to the players like, what's wrong with Saquon? He didn't make that unblocked guy miss. It's like, well, I mean, what happened to the scheme? You have a full season of scheme from Kellen Moore and success and what Saquon does well, what this offensive line does well, what Jalen does well. And if you didn't have that blueprint, people would have a lot more empathy for you.
The run game is a byproduct, I think, more so of the offensive line issues. The pass game is a byproduct of the offensive line issues coupled with poor scheme. They don't scheme guys open. They run a lot of just very basic vanilla stuff because it's a whole domino effect, okay? In the past, the Eagles prioritize not turning the ball over. That's number 1 on their list. So to not turn the ball over, they don't want any elaborate passing things that are going to cause problems. So everything they did was very basic and vanilla, so they don't turn the ball over. The problem has now become because they can't run the ball, these basic patterns are now being run with more guys in the secondary. So instead of 8 guys in the box to try to take Saquon away, they don't have 8 guys in the box anymore because they don't think your offensive line can win the battle up front. So now instead of seeing 3 and 4 guys in coverage, you're seeing 5, 6, sometimes 7 guys in coverage. So those same basic routes used to only have 3 guys or 4 guys in coverage. Well, now you've got 8 or 7 guys in coverage. And this is what Hurts is seeing, if you're watching on YouTube, instead of this. So it's a lot different passing game when there's more guys in coverage because they don't respect your run game. So I understand that Patullo has a tough job here based on the fact that his offensive line is not giving him much. But I don't think he's done himself any favors.
He's also done himself favors because of the fact that, as Sherman said, that what you said is true, Mike, but it doesn't cover up for the fact that there's many plays that they're running the running back into areas where they don't have the blockers to facilitate that. So if you run a guy and there's 4 people on one side of the field and you're only sending 2 or 3 blockers, well, that means one guy is going to be available to tackle your running back. It's not rocket science.
Well, and a lot of times you want your running back one-on-one. You know, it's like, hey, there's going to be an unblocked guy. But if that unblocked guy is right in your face and not in the second level, that's a different situation.
Very different situation.
Yeah. All right, 609-403-0973. What else we got?
JW in Ocean City says, the Eagles...
J-Dub?
The Eagles' identity is as someone in witness protection. It constantly changes. What I would do, says JW, is I would try to go to the air early, see how it works. Use some run-pass option with number 1, finish the game running the ball, like last year, says JW in Ocean City.
If you were in witness protection, what state would you want them to send you to?
Maine.
Good one.
Hawaii.
Okay. You think they're sending you to Hawaii? That's a small spot. Like, if you went to go check out Hawaii, they could comb that pretty good.
It's hard to get there, though.
That's true.
Takes a long time to get there.
Maine's a good answer.
You like that, Maine?
Definitely on my list of places I want to get to soon.
Good to know.
That guy's text message is right on, though. They don't have an identity. It changes from week to week.
It really does.
And the RPO is almost evaporated out of the offense, which is perplexing.
Yeah, that's a whole another rabbit hole we can go down. Jeff in Summers Point chimes in, Mike. He says, here's the strategy. Barkley left, Barkley right, Hurts up the middle. Niners can't stop the run. That will open up the deep shots. Key in on McCaffrey defensively. Let DeJean lock in on George Kittle, and then the Eagles can win by 10, says Jeff in Summers Point.
Jeff, I don't think you're wrong. Bryce Huff up front, not great. They just he's their best pass rusher. You're going with Eric Kendricks. I honestly don't know who else is playing linebacker for them this week because
are you available, Mike?
Probably not at this stage.
Gotcha.
You could go on special teams and probably down a punt, right?
Doubtful. I pull a hamstring running down there. But I know they signed Kaiser White, but I don't know if he's active or what. But Bryce Huff, they got Alfred Collins, I know, is one of their tackles in there. I don't know who else that really of substance they have up front. They've lost Bosa.
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner's probably out at least another week. They just lost Bethune in the game on Saturday night. I mean, their defense is just limited.
Decimated.
It's a mash unit.
Yeah. And by the way, Seattle only scored 13 points against them. So even with their defense being banged up, it is
Robert Saleh's a good coach.
No, I'm saying their scheme is very good, is what I'm getting at. They don't have a great players right now, but he does. My point is, they only gave up 13 points against the number 1 seed a week ago. So what's to make you feel like your offense is going to come out and just start firing all cylinders? They gave up 13 points to them last week.
Phil and Brigantine chimes in. Mike says, Mike, the Eagles have 3 skilled players in Barkley, Smith, and Brown that have all gone over 1,000 3,000 yards. It doesn't correlate to how inept they have been offensively. The players obviously produce, but the offensive production is not there. Please explain, says Phil and Brigantine.
I don't have an explanation. When I heard that Barkley had 1,000 yards, I was shocked, number one. I know he came on a little bit late, but he still never had like a breakout moment or game. I know he had the one longer touchdown. What game was that? Later on in the year. Was it against Buffalo? Did he have something against Buffalo? Was that? I don't know. He had a long run, but it wasn't like a 70-yard run.
Nah. Are you talking about the Chargers game when he went up the left side?
Yeah. Was that it?
The Chargers game on
a lot
Monday
of these
Football.
games late in the year all ramble together. But, yeah, Barkley did not have a moment. I talked about this. Let me ask you guys this question. The Philadelphia Eagles 2025 season, can you come up with 3 memorable moments? I have 3, but only one really stands out.
The blocked field goal
That's
against the Rams.
Number one.
That's got to be the number one.
That's the only one
Everybody's list.
that I think that if I ask this question, text in the memorable moment from the 2025 season. That is probably the only one people would be able to text in. Is there any other moment?
I mean, if you want to go with the DeJean interception for a touchdown, sure, that's one.
There's basically here's my 3 that I thought of. The field goal block against the Rams, return for a touchdown,
right.
Jordan Davis.
Yep.
The next week, the first drive of the game, they blocked the punt against Tampa.
Right.
And return that for a touchdown. And the last one is they blocked the extra point against the Bills. The only 3 moments I could think of the whole year are all special teams
That
moments.
was Sidney Brown who had that tutty, right?
The block punt, yeah.
Yeah.
The only 3 moments I can think of the whole season are all special teams moments.
That's bad.
Right? And is there something discernible that I'm forgetting? I mean, the year before, the Super Bowl years, I can go back to 2017. I remember like the first play of the year against Washington, the first game of the year, against Washington, where Carson Wentz spins out. He goes out into the pocket, out of the pocket, and he throws it down the field to Aguilar, and Aguilar catches that ball, and that set up the whole season of Aguilar in the slot catching passes and reversing field and getting up the field. I mean, in that year you had the 63-yard field goal that really stands out. I mean, you had Barkley last year jumping over the Jacksonville defender. You had every single Barkley 60-plus yard touchdown run. I mean, there were so many memorable things that you could point out from last year's run. This year,
I mean, do you throw in there the Jalix Hunt interception for a touchdown?
Yeah, that was recent, right?
That was the Vikings game.
Oh, that was the Vikings game.
if you can't remember when it was, it's not a big enough.
Yeah, Pete just answered the question.
Yeah. What else we got?
We got Paul in Millville chimes in. He says, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then the offense is a duck. Anyone who says this offense is going to magically flip a switch, whether they've been holding back for the postseason, you are sadly mistaken. Give me the 49ers to win the game, and then we can get into one of these great arguments about who's available the offseason for OC.
Well, listen, I don't know that they have to flip a switch per se.
Jalen can flip a switch, right? He's a big game quarterback.
You don't have to flip the switch per se. The whole offense, they don't have to come out and score 28 points. As I said earlier, I'm not even asking you to score more. I'm just asking you, can you get a first down? Can you not go 3 and out? Can I get a couple drives where I just go for 3.5, 4 minutes and keep the ball away from the other team and keep my defense off the field? I'm not asking you to even score more. And some of that could be Jalen on 3rd and 7 takes off and gets a first down. Jalen on 2nd down and 9 sees a little opening and takes it and extends the drive another 3 plays. That's all I'm really asking for. I'm not asking for to discover plutonium by accident here. That's a Back to the Future.
Yes, it is. Nice, Paul.
Oh, see that? I was thinking Seinfeld.
Oh, I went Back to the Future.
Costanza and Jerry, I forget what episode that is, but that's a Costanza line too.
That is a Costanza line. You are correct.
Back to the Future came first, though.
I was watching that on during the holidays.
Brandon in Dennisville says, I hate the new coordinator, but unless we miraculously go on and win the Super Bowl because of the offense, Patullo absolutely has to be gone. I agree with you guys. I welcome the quirky, capri-wearing McDaniel with open arms to Philadelphia, says Brandon in Dennisville.
He can wear my capris.
You own them.
I mean, I have them on right now.
Oh, yeah, you do have them on right now. How about that? Shanahan wears capris, too, I think.
They all do. All those coaches do.
The whole coaching tree wears capris.
Well, that's part of
anybody that can design a play, apparently.
It's actually part of one of the chapters in the book, The Why Is Everything, about that whole coaching staff's history together, about how they used to show up to practices during the 2012 Washington season all wearing the same pants.
I think Sirianni, I don't know that his aren't as short as the other guys, but he wears similar. Mine aren't actually capris. They're just pants that are
they cuffed at the bottom.
They're cuffed at the bottom. Yeah. But I'm a little warm in here, so I pulled them up a little bit.
Yeah.
But Sirianni wears similar type of style of pants, and I'm sure that guy Evil Empire would say he doesn't like Sirianni, so that makes sense.
Jeff and O should say, let's wrap it up with this one. He says the highlight of the season was raising the banner opening night and beating Dallas.
He's not wrong.
Even though the team didn't even come out for it. They decided to totally ignore it.
That's a moment in the season. You were up 21-0 and blew that game.
Oh, yeah, you're going the other way.
Well, I mean, some of the most memorable moments are ones that you are forgetful. Right? I can remember that. You blew a 21-point lead against the Cowboys. Just think about that. You're up 21-0 against a team that didn't make the playoffs, and that cost you the number 2 seed. We should be more mad about those moments than them sitting guys in the game on Sunday.
Listen, to me, the 2 games you should have won, you could have won, it would have made a difference. And I had people arguing with me about it this week. I said
Denver?
It was the Denver game and the Cowboys game.
And the Cowboy game.
You have a lead. You should win the game. If you win those 2 games, it doesn't matter if you start or sit people in the last game of the year.
Yeah, I agree. 609-403-0973. More text messages on the other side. You guys are doing a good job today. By the way, the Phillies...
We have some breaking Phillies news, actually.
...have agreed to 1-year contracts to avoid arbitration with Tanner Banks, Joan Duran, Jesus Luzardo, Alec Boehm, Edmundo Sosa, Bryson Stott, and Brandon Marsh. All of those guys are back on... they avoided arbitration. What's the breaking news you got?
The Phillies have a meeting set with Bo Bichette.
Whoa!
In the coming days, and
that's
they are
nugget.
interested. Yeah.
That's a nugget right there. That's a Pete's Pizza.
Yeah, Matt Gelb is reporting that.
The Phillies have a meeting with Bo Bichette in the coming days, and as circumstances this offseason have changed, so has their interest level in the star infielder. That according to Matt Gelb.
That's a bombshell, actually.
You know what? I was talking about this 3 weeks ago.
The ramifications
Let
on
JT walk.
Yeah.
Now, they got the trade. The arbitration for Boehm was how much? 10.2?
10.2, yeah.
10.2 plus the money that you offered Real Muto. Let's say it's about $15 million a year. That's $25 million that you now have available to you. And maybe you trade Stott as well, and you play Boehm at second. Not Boehm. Bichette at second, and then you play Kemp at third. That's something because the money that I don't know how much did Stott get in his arbitration.
5.
Okay,
five.
that's 5.
Yeah,
that's the number that I was hoping for. $25 million plus his 5. That's $30 million. Bo Bichette, you interested in a $30 million a year deal?
Plus the money off the books next year with officially
Castellanos,
Taiwan Walker.
Yep. That's $38 million, by the way, next year you're getting free. All right, more Sports Bash coming up, 97.3 ESPN. We're live at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City at the Tropicana.
Listen to the NFL Wildcard Round.
The Wildcard Round of the NFL playoffs kicks off with a special Saturday doubleheader. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join me and the rest of our Westwood One crew for all the action. First, the Los Angeles Rams take on the upstart Carolina Panthers. Then it's the oldest rivalry in football when the Packers head to Chicago to face the Bears. Coverage begins at 4 p.m. Eastern. From the Wild Card Round all the way to Super Bowl 60 in the Bay Area, the NFL playoffs are right here.
It's a special NFL Saturday on 97.3 ESPN.
Need help? Give help. The Branch's outreach in Rio Grande offers food, personal care items, and support to people facing homelessness or hardship in Cape May County this season.
Food insecurity is a growing concern right here in Cape May County, and for many families, one unexpected expense can make it harder to put food on the table. At the Branch's Outreach Food Pantry, we provide reliable access to nutritious food for individuals and families facing food insecurity with dignity and respect. This year alone, our pantry has served over 12,000 family members, and the need continues to grow. The Branch's Outreach is privately funded through donations from our community, and support is needed year-round to keep shelves stocked and doors open. Groceries for the pantry can be dropped off at 3401 Route 47, Unit AJ between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. To learn more, get involved, or make a donation, follow us on Facebook or visit thebranchesoutreach.org.
You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Never thought this radio stunt would catch on so big.
On 97.3 ESPN.
All right, Sports Bash Live. We're at the Chickies and Pizza in Atlantic City. Go where the players go. Get the A.J. Brown Sweet Heat Hot Wings. According to reports, the Phillies are meeting with shortstop Bo Bichette. That according to Matt Gelb of The Athletic. So this is a game changer for me. You bring in Bo Bichette. Now you got Don Mattingly here as the new bench coach.
Donnie Baseball.
He was with Bo Bichette in Toronto. And whatever you could do. Hey, Donnie Baseball, can you talk to Bo and see if he'd play third, second, what he wants to do? Would he be willing to do it? That's the first thing. Because you got to be able to find a place to move him to play because he's not going to play shortstop here. But to me, I don't think this is a tough question, but I'll ask it anyway. You going Bo Bichette or bringing back JT? You can only have one, obviously.
Oh, go Bo Bichette.
Well, I guess the terms on Bo Bichette would probably be $300 million, close to it, right?
Good question. Is he in that same range as
let me
all
pull up
those
the
other
spot
guys?
track estimator.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the
Trey Turner contract?
I had seen I saw a wide range of predictions. like 5 years, 180. I saw like a 6-year 203. Like I saw 5 different predictions, one from like Jim Bowden, one from Spot Track, one from like whoever does them for ESPN, one whoever. Like they weren't even close to each other. The different but I don't think you're looking at like a 10-year $300 million deal like that.
So Spot Track says his estimated value is $23 million a year.
Oh, then that's well within your range. $23 million, you don't even have to trade Stott. I'm thinking 30. I'm trying to clear out $30 million. $23 million, JT, thank you for your service. Bohm, it's been nice knowing you. You go out and sign Bichette for 20. I'll even give you 25 because I'm a nice guy. I'll give you
How
$2
many
million
years
extra.
you giving him?
And your net worth is like $7 billion.
I'll give you 5 at $25 million a year.
Solid.
Okay.
By the way, he turns
Take it.
28 next upcoming season.
That's the key
Perfect.
for me. Is this
Now
this
go
core-
look at Victor Caratini. What's his Spot Track number?
Sure, give me a sec.
Because that's the once I make that move and I lose JT, my next move is I go call Victor Caratini from the Astros and I say, "Do you want to be our catcher?"
He is his AAV is just under $3 million.
And there you go. $3 million. And now I'm taking the $2 million back that I just gave to Bo Bichette, and I'm siphoning it that way. They're your two guys. You get Bo Bichette and Caratini in here, you've upgraded your offense immensely. Now, that's not even – Caratini is on par offensively, if not better than JT at this stage.
I would say he is definitely better at this stage. He's
that's
much
fair.
more reliable.
He's a 240, 12 home run kind of guy, just like JT Realmuto is. JT last year hit what, 247 with 12 homers?
Yeah.
Does anybody think that those numbers are going up?
No.
No.
If they stay the same, you're bringing in Caratini, who's essentially – now, I will say, I'm going to say this with great confidence. You are definitely downgrading the catcher position, calling the game, throwing runners out. No question. And JT has an intimate knowledge of Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Jesus Luzardo, Taijuan Walker, if that even matters to anybody. I'm sure he's worked with Andrew Painter at least a little bit, more than Victor Caratini has. That being said,
Sanchez.
Christopher Sanchez. That would be a loss in that department. Now, that being said, Rafael Marchand has been around these guys. He's doesn't have the same gravitas, right, as JT does. But Marchand throws out runners left and right. Nobody runs on him either. I think their pop times are either equal or Marchand's is slightly better. So throwing runners out, you're not even taking a dip if you took Marchand. The question with Marchand is, if you just said, we're going to just go with Marchand. Now, he is a switch hitter, so you don't have to worry about the fact, he hits left or right. You have Marchand hitting where he belongs. Like JT, if you told me we're signing JT back and our intent is he's going to hit 7 or 8 in the lineup, okay, I'm okay with that. The problem with JT is anytime you bring him back and the first chance someone is streaking or not hitting or hurt, where do they put JT? Right back in the middle of the lineup. Can't have it. With Marchand, at least I know they're hitting him 8th. He's not hitting 4th or 5th. He's hitting 8th. So I would even take Marchand and Bo Bichette over bringing back JT and Bohm.
And the fact that this is now out there, it's public info that they're meeting with him. I mean, how can you not sign him now? After you're meeting with him, the fan base is just clamoring for a needle mover. Anyone. And Bo Bichette's the guy. So I think if you're John Middleton, you cannot let him leave that meeting unsigned.
Well,
especially to go talk to the Yankees or the Cubbies or whoever else is out there.
I was just going to bring that up. The fact that the other teams that have been reported are the Yankees, the Cubs, the big boys, the Red Sox. I mean, they're the teams that you're up against. So if you have him in the building, you make sure Don Mattingly's sitting there, and if he has to take off his shoes, you make him take his shoes off like Dr. J did for Paul George.
Yes.
This is a
Good
meeting.
call.
This is a meeting where you take your shoes off, you walk in, and you say, Bo, you want to play in front of a full house every single night?
Who do you think the guy they can call that can walk into the room to make Bo Bichette be like, oh, you brought him?
There's Chase Utley. You think Chase Utley walks into a room and Bo Bichette's going to turn his nose up at him?
No.
Of course not. By the way, Chase Utley's right now has the most percentage votes for the Hall of Fame of this year's class right now. Does he not?
Saw that.
I did see that, yeah. From the last balloting, yeah.
The other guy, you got Chase Utley. Hey, Bo, come here, play second base. It was the best 7-8 years of my life playing second base for the Philadelphia Phillies, and you can be that guy. Or you got Jimmy Rollins. He can come in and say, yo, kid, come in here. I was the MVP 2007. Take my MVP. Take it from me. Go be the MVP in this city, and you will have the greatest life you will ever have after that.
And then you also bring Big Dom to guard the door.
Do the Phillies have a Big Dom? I don't think so.
They could borrow Big Dom for a day.
I don't believe so.
I would think all the Philly organizations should be passing around Big Dom for help.
Just, a little side hustle for him,
609-403-0973. All right, let's hit a couple text messages here. What else do we got? A little smorgasbord.
Couple things to get to.
By the way, that Stott deal was 5.9, almost $6 million. Just throwing that out there because you said 5.
Yeah, it's almost
it's
6.
5.9, almost $6 million. But I didn't realize that the spot track number was 23, which probably means it's 27.
Which is, that's a
manageable number.
And so is Bohm's, right? $10 million. That's a fair number for Bohm.
If Bohm,
fair, yes.
If Bohm making $10 million is a lot different than Bohm being paid whatever he's been paid over the last couple of years. Because you can make an argument for what he's been paid, he's given you more value. For $10 million, I need more.
Right. Okay. Fair point.
The real Jeff from Summers Point chimes in. He says, Jalen Carter spitting on the Cowboys at the first game of the season, that's the biggest highlight of the season.
He's not wrong, right? It's one of the more memorable things that you remember is the season got off to a wonky start from Jump Street.
Very wonky.
And I talked about this with Mosher yesterday. On the same game, the play before that, Ben Van Sumeren got hurt on the opening kickoff, and nobody thought anything of it.
And that's a huge loss because he was supposed to be a key part of your run game this year.
Think about, and Mosher talked about it yesterday, they were going to use him like Kyle Juszczyk is used in San Francisco.
Correct.
He was going to be a fullback where they had a whole offense installed with him a part of it, and they had to rip that page out of the playbook.
By the way, your point about Bohm, he made $7.7 million last year, $4 million the year before that.
The year that he made $4 million, you got a hell of an ROI with 98 RBI.
Yep.
And the year before that, he had 98 RBI.
That year before that, he had 748,000.
For 748,000, you had a guy drive in 100 runs.
Yep.
Pretty damn good.
All-Star, too. Don't forget about that.
Made the All-Star game. I have no problem with Bohm if he's hitting 7th. I don't need him hitting 4th, 5th, and I tend to not want him hitting 6th either. 7th would be a good spot for him.
John at Cape Courthouse chimed in. He says, hey, guys, why have we not talked more about the fact that Shanahan has never scored more than 15 points against a Vic Fangio-led defense? I'm not sure how often they have faced off factors into the conversation, but I like that stat, says John at Cape Courthouse.
We brought it up in the open of today's show, actually. It was our A block. The fact that Shanahan has struggled against Vic Fangio. And if that's the case this week, you're going to win. If your offense doesn't crap itself, which they've been known to do. Sorry.
You threw me off there. Sorry. It's my bad not being staying on flow here. Rick and Mays Landing chimes in and says, Bo Bichette meeting with the Phillies. This is huge news for the Phillies, says Rick in Mays Landing.
Here's a question for you. Okay? If I tell you Bo Bichette signs with the Phillies, but the Eagles lose, or the Eagles win, but Bo Bichette signs someplace else.
Eagles win the Super Bowl or just win against the Niners?
Win against the Niners.
Oh, you got to give me more than that. I can't sacrifice Bo Bichette for just a wild card win.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right?
Because Bo Bichette could be the reason why you win a World Series.
Well, if you think
It's
they
true.
beat the Niners, okay, I'll lay it out like this. You beat the Niners, and the Packers beat the Bears. Here, would you rather play at Chicago against the Bears or play the Rams here in Philly,
I'd rather have a home game.
even though it's against the Rams?
Yeah, it's really a tough call. I'd rather probably face Caleb Williams than Matt Stafford.
Thinking about that the other day. Somebody asked me that last night. I forget who it was.
Sean McVay's also never beat Nick Sirianni in 4 games. So
And they got to come across the country and
Right.
play in the weather
you
here.
got to come to your house.
Although it's 55 degrees outside, it feels like it's L.A.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be very windy on Sunday, by the way. Did you guys see that forecast?
Yeah, but the Rams have just not been playing all that well recently here. Now, is Devontae Adams back?
I have to double-check their practice report. I'll let you know.
All right, we got any more?
Yeah, I wanted to squeeze in one more text here. Andrew Summers Point says, "What's wrong with capri pants? I rock them."
I didn't say anything wrong with a capri pants. I don't care about capri pants at all. Wear the hell, whatever the hell you want.
You
Have a
said
blast.
somebody could wear a tutu out there. And
I'm
as long
okay
as
with
they
that. You want to wear a
scheme
tutu?
up.
As long as as long as you score 24 points a game, you can wear whatever the heck you want. For all I
Bold
care.
strategy.
Birthday suit.
I don't mind it. You want to sit in the booth? Man, as long as you're sitting up in the booth. Listen, I am not the person that really gives two rat's spittoons what somebody else chooses to wear or do. It doesn't affect my day one iota. You want to wear whatever you want to wear, go for it. I'm not here to judge what your outfit looks like. I might judge it and say, I'm not wearing that outfit, but I'm not going to say you shouldn't wear it. Wear whatever the heck you want. What the hell do I care?
Just contribute to society.
I don't even care if you contribute to
Oh,
society.
you don't even care about that. Okay.
No.
Win me games. Is all that matters.
I say, I don't care if you contribute to society. Just don't cause any lack of contribution to me in society. Get out of my way.
By the way, Devontae Adams, full participant at practice today.
Okay. I figured he was getting close to coming back. That changes some things. You get him back, that changes their offense a bit.
Oh, it definitely changes a lot. For me, I just look to the history that you found a way to beat the Rams 4 out of 4 times. And so to me, it's like you're at home, you've beaten the Rams before. Chicago, you're going on the road. You've never won a playoff game, the Nick Sirianni era on the road.
I mean, you're at home. You definitely feel better about that. You beat the Rams at home last year. You beat the Rams on the road last year. No matter where you've played them, you have beaten them.
But the other alternative would be the Rams face Seattle. Maybe they pull off the upset. They beat Seattle. Then you'd host the NFC Championship game.
That's true. You think so? You're saying you think Seattle, the Rams have the best shot to beat Seattle.
I think so. If you're talking about Green Bay, if they upset
Well, Sean
Chicago,
McVay certainly thinks so because remember he fired his special teams coordinator the very next day.
I would say, LA has the best shot of beating Seattle, right?
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. This hour brought to you by Broadleaf's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, plumbing service, and installation for generations. Call 609-390-3907, online broadleafs.net. Coming up, it's our unsportsmanlike moment of the day. Football at 4 next hour with Andrew DiCecco. Got the Nuggets with Earnshaw. Casey Joyner, One Thought Every Game, and more. Live at Chickies and Pete's at the Tropicana in Atlantic City. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash.
The wait is over. The quest for the Lombardi returns to South Philly. It's the wild card round as the number 3 seeded Eagles host the 6 seeded San Francisco 49ers at the Link. Don't miss a single snap with the legends, Merrill Reese and Mike Quick, calling all the exciting playoff action.
Here comes the rush. They've got him!
Coverage begins this Sunday with the pregame at 3 p.m., followed by kickoff at 4:30. The playoffs live here. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles playoff station.
All sports should be played indoors. Being inside during a winter weather game is where most people should want to be. I like being warm. I believe that sports should be played in a dome, and I know that that's such a controversial take given where I live, where Wrigley Field is one of my favorite places to be in the summertime, and it is not one of my favorite places to be in April when it's sleeting. Soldier Field, right there on the lake, beautiful scenic shots of the city of Chicago. I was there for Browns-Bears a couple weeks ago on sideline for ESPN Radio's call, and it was -10 with the wind chill. Not fun.
On Sportsmanlike's Moment of the Day, Courtney Cronin was filling in for Canty today. Canty's having a baby, or his wife is anyway.
They already had the baby, yeah.
They had the baby, and that's why Courtney was in with that take right there. It's our Unsportsmanlike Moment of the Day. Brought to you by White Horse RV Center. Find fall closeout savings on 2025s and select pre-owned RVs. Shop now before they're gone at White Horse RV. Your RV adventure starts here. Yeah, I can't get him on board with her there.
I agree.
I am not. Sports are to be played in the elements. Why do we want to try to control everything? It's part of the problem that sports is having. We're trying to control every variable. Everything we want to try to control. No. Sports, the elements come into play. It's the whole reason why you play a season. If you live in the Northeast, you try to get a home game. Why? So that if you play a team from the West, you have that edge over them. That they don't practice outside all week long. And then they have to come here and they have to get adjusted to the weather. That's your advantage. Much like if you play in the Northeast and have to go down to Florida and play. And it's hot as all heck down there in September. They have the advantage. The elements are part of the advantage. Why do we want to make this? Why do we want to make sports cookie cutter? Why do we want to just make a make and bake oven? Pop it in, pull it out, here you go. Here's your game. No, I want the game to have, the game itself should have a little bit of personality. And therefore, Courtney Cronin, good job filling in today. Bad take by you. Your Unsportsmanlike Moment of the Day is a failure.
Can I just play devil's advocate for a moment?
I was going to bring up, something else too.
So is maybe the idea of putting the games indoors a
What, are you
way
gonna turn up the air conditioner to like a freezing cold level?
No, I'm not saying that.
Piping some crowd noise.
What I was going to say is, in a world where you're charging more and more and more for people to go to these games, and some people are saying, you know what, I don't need to go to the game. I can stay in my house and watch the game, is maybe saying, with your expensive ticket, you now have to deal with the elements outside.
I think there's people that go to those games enjoy that element of it. Like, there are people that are like, you know what, I'm going to go to a snow game. You know what games I remember going to as a kid? The snowball game against the Dallas Cowboys. That's a game that I remember that I went to. Right? I mean, those are parts of the memories of going to games. Oh, I went to this game and it rained like crazy. How many people listening today went to the game Eagles-Lions in the snow? LaShawn McCoy.
So really quick. So you're saying that people are going to go to the game no matter what, that the price doesn't matter.
Let me ask you a question. You ever watch a game with snow on television?
Of course.
You ever see the stands empty?
Not a football game, no.
You got jabronis in Buffalo helping them snow the freaking seats out, shoveling the snow so they could sit in them. They go down there and help the team shovel snow.
So then what about your point about baseball?
You ever see snow in a baseball game? Because I haven't. Maybe I have, but.
Is it a good product, though? Like, are you thinking about the product of the game?
Yeah, that's to it.
You think, okay. The players, though, are not.
You don't remember LaShawn McCoy in that game against the Lions?
Oh, I remember very well.
I remember that, yeah.
Of course you do.
He ran all over the place.
You remember last year's playoff game?
Saquon
Barkley against
in the snow.
Against the Rams?
Jalen Carter getting Matthew Stafford in the snow.
Maybe that game's different if it's not snowing.
It's true.
Of course it's true. You think the Rams wanted to come here and play in the snow? I live here. I don't want to play in the snow. But that's my advantage. When my buddy Todd Rank comes to New Jersey, he don't want to see the snow. He lives in L.A. The snow is the advantage. To want to get rid of that is asinine. Courtney, again, The unsportsmanlike moment of the day, your first chance at it, you failed. I can't agree with you on that one. Listen tomorrow morning, 6 to 10 a.m. to Unsportsmanlike right here on 97.3 ESPN. See if they can get another unsportsmanlike moment by me today or tomorrow. Find out what it is for unsportsmanlike here on 97.3 ESPN. I'll have to talk to Evan Cohen maybe tomorrow. And I don't know, maybe they'll play this in the morning. Sometimes they play our unsportsmanlike moments during the morning show, don't they? Sometimes. We'll see if that one makes it. All right, coming up next, it is football at 4. Andrew DiCecco. What matchups is he looking at? The X Factor next.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It is brought to you by the Fanatics Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Go to the gallery for this week's Eagles football games. And, of course, you can listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. All the playoffs are on. And, of course, right now it's Football at 4. Andrew DiCecco from the Inside the Birds podcast set to join us with the matchups he's looking at here for Eagles and Niners. We talked a lot about it, obviously, once we knew the matchup was here, and we're going to dive into it a little deeper. Andrew DiCecco on the matchups he is looking at here. It's our first Football at 4 with Andrew DiCecco for 2026, so we bring him into the Sports Bash Football at 4. Welcome back, Andrew. Happy New Year, my friend. How are you?
Mike, I'm doing great. Happy New Year to you and all the listeners.
Yeah, it's great to finally reconnect with you. I feel like it's been some time, but we got playoff football. Let me first start with this. Of all the possible matchups, where do you put the Niners in terms of, versus the Rams and any other teams, Packers they could have played? How did you kind of rank them? Did you see one any more difficult than the other?
Packers, and then right behind them, the 49ers. Make no mistake about it. Every game in the postseason is going to be a challenge, but I think when you look at what the 49ers have from an offensive standpoint, you can argue that they have the most lackluster defense in the postseason field. I think that should give you some sense of confidence going into this game if you're an Eagles fan listening, and presumably you are, that they should be able to go out there and take care of business. But there are a couple of pieces there in Christian McCaffrey and tight end George Kittle, and of course Kyle Shanahan, who is an offensive mastermind that you need to be mindful of going into this one.
Yeah, let's start with those two guys, McCaffrey and Kittle. I ranked the Niners as a team that I worried about maybe at the top of the list because of those two guys, because you got McCaffrey catching the ball in the backfield, you got Kittle catching the ball over the middle, and those are areas where sometimes the Eagles struggle a little bit in coverage. You only have one Cooper DeJean. He can't cover them all here. And now they do struggle on the outside. Their offensive line going to be interesting to see what happens with Trent Williams here. But the McCaffrey-Kittle thing, do the Eagles have enough to kind of take those guys and focus on them?
Well, I'm going to try to ease any concerns you may have, Mike, because the Eagles are an exceptional team when it comes to tackling in space. I know that you mentioned Cooper DeJean, but they also have Zach Bond, and they're going to have Nakobe Dean back this week as well. So I think Dean's experience and Bond's ability to cover a ton of ground sideline to sideline should help in that respect. And then the Eagles' defensive line getting after it in the running game. Look, Kyle Shanahan does a lot of different things in terms of the razzle-dazzle, the eye candy, and things to kind of spritz up the running game and shake loose Christian McCaffrey. And you have to be mindful of that. But I think the Eagles are a fundamentally sound, disciplined defense that you shouldn't have a ton of concerns about that, but you have to bring down Christian McCaffrey when he has the ball, or he can make you pay and rip off some chunk plays. And then when it comes to the tight end, the Eagles have done a really nice job defending tight ends this season. Now, Kittle's a player that you could see the 49ers try to get the ball in his hands early on some short completions to give Brock Purdy some semblance of a rhythm offensively. And Kittle is really good after the catch. But again, I go back to the point of the Eagles being such proficient tacklers, and I think that should be able to help limit their damage, if you will, from an offensive perspective. But Kittle is also going to be someone who is going to be a factor in the red zone should they make it into the red zone. But I think this Eagles defense is well equipped to stop what the 49ers have.
Yeah, you got Nakobe Dean possibly back here, and it looks like he will be back. Vic Fangio did say Tuesday he expects him to play. He was on the practice field, so we do anticipate that. But I would think that they want to get McCaffrey or Kittle kind of lined up there and test that hamstring out a little bit, so that's something to watch. What about Fangio's secondary? You match him up against Purdy's efficiency. Purdy, good footwork. He's quick with the ball. Sometimes he can move around, but they don't have a lot of weapons on the outside. So what do you make of, kind of that secondary matchup against their outside weaponry?
Yeah, I think it favors the Eagles pretty significantly. Look, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Ricky Pearsall, their wide receiver, who is the driving force of their passing attack outside of George Kittle. Jawan Jennings is a nice player, but he's really best suited to be a 3, no better than a 2. And I think all things being equal, it favors an Eagles secondary that, in the sense that you're not going to have a quarterback that's likely going to have an opportunity to target a Dory Jackson, right? Because we all know that every quarterback going into this postseason, whenever they face the Eagles for however many rounds, the objective for them in the passing game is going to be try to find where number 8 is and try to take advantage of it. But the 49ers aren't equipped to do that with the weaponry that they have on the outside. But there's one aspect that we should all be mindful of, and that is Brock Purdy's ability to create yards with his legs. And when the Eagles' defense has had sticking points, Mike, it's been against elusive quarterbacks who can kind of make you pay if you're not remaining disciplined in your rush lanes and things like that. And so while there may not be a ton developing down the field, because I do expect the Eagles pass rush to get after Purdy, you do have to be mindful of Purdy's ability to kind of maneuver pressure and pick up yards with his legs.
Definitely agree with that. Trent Williams, we don't know what's going to happen there, but if he plays hamstring, much like we're talking about Dean, you got to try to exploit that. But if he's, whether he's in there or not, their offensive line, not the biggest strong suit, but they are very unique up front in their run game. They do a lot of interesting stuff up front in the run game, but I'm interested to see, if the Eagles can get the pressure that we talk about they need to get on Purdy with or without Trent Williams. Should the Eagles' defensive front win that battle up front against that offensive line?
Yeah, and to your point very quickly, Nakobe Dean said it yesterday, and by the way, he said he's playing on Sunday, but he mentioned that you have to have good eyes when you're going up against a Kyle Shanahan offense, and they can do a lot of different things, and being disciplined and having good eyes and, honing in on those fundamentals are going to be instrumental if the Eagles defense is going to continue their ascent here. But yeah, you look at the defensive line from the Eagles perspective, and I do believe that they have enough there, certainly from the interior and even on the edge, to provide pressure on Brock Purdy, right? I mean, Jalen Phillips has been a revelation. Adding him at the trade deadline, I think, not only has helped the Eagles defense, but it's also created opportunities for other players like Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith to be able to pin their ears back and go get the quarterback. From an interior perspective, you have Jalen Carter, who I think that week off is going to be hugely beneficial to someone like him. He was at practice on Wednesday, had the hip injury that kept him out of Sunday's game against the Commanders. But Moro Jomo, I think he is going to be someone who reaps the benefit off of that offensive line that I think is going to create some opportunities. And Jordan Davis, of course, 4.5 sacks in the regular season. He's been an absolute force at the center of that defensive line. I like the Eagles' advantage there. I think that's a favorable matchup.
All right, Andrew DiCecco, we're taking a look at some of the matchups that are really going to be key for the Eagles' win here. Let's go to the Eagles' offense a little bit. Lane Johnson effect, having him back. Now, Fred Johnson's played pretty well. This isn't really an indictment on him. However, we know there's a difference, whether it be just placebo effect, mental, whatever you want to call it. Lane Johnson, he has been back at the practice field. It's no guarantee that he is out there. It's trending that way. But do you see a Lane Johnson back? Because they did ask, I don't know if it was Patula on Tuesday or Sirianni yesterday. I think it was yesterday, Sirianni. They asked him, how is the offense? Can you do different things that you call different things with Lane Johnson there?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that we'll all be keeping an eye on, those of us at practice. He was out there on Wednesday. And I think when you look at the injury that he had to overcome, that's a pretty significant injury, the Lisfranc and the foot. And I look at Lane Johnson as being someone who you can make an argument is the most important player on that side of the ball. When he's in, you look at the record, there's a pretty big disparity when he's not in the lineup. We've covered that up quite a bit, but you can do different things when he's in there. You don't have to chip as much. You're able to take a little bit more liberties. And I think just from a comfort level, Jalen Hurts knows that Lane Johnson's going to have his back, and there's not a lot of guesswork, and there's just that understanding and chemistry that can't be quantified. And so I think that's going to be especially critical in this game to have the entire band back together on the offensive line. And yes, you're right. It's trending in the right direction in terms of Lane Johnson going on Sunday.
Yeah, I want to get your take on this because Black Friday they played the Bears, and I remember that week. We may have talked about it. Actually, I don't know if we talked that week because it was a short week. It was a holiday there. But the Bears had been decimated at linebacker. And really the story was, hey, they're like down to their 4th, 5th, 6th linebackers, whatever it is. Niners in a similar spot here. They also are a team last in the league, 20 sacks, last in the league, pressure rate. It kind of sounds like a game that you should be able. They've struggled to run the ball all year with that front offensive line. But is this a week where you anticipate the Eagles' offensive line having a clear advantage?
Yes, especially, I go back to the rest, and that was going to be hugely beneficial for someone like Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, of course, Lane Johns. Because someone isn't listed on the injury report doesn't mean they aren't dealing with something. They've been banged up all season. The key to postseason success, especially from the Eagles' point of view, is having a healthier offensive line, and I think having that week off really optimizes their ability to do that. And this is going to be a run-heavy game, Mike. At least that's the way that I'm seeing it right now. Eagles have an advantage there in the trenches, and that's what they want to do. They're going to try to get Saquon Barkley going, and this is a game where if you're Saquon, if it's blocked up for 4 or 5 yards, take those yards. Don't be hitting the home run and churn forward and keep the offense on schedule. And it eliminates their hiccup, their common theme throughout the season of being behind the sticks. And all of a sudden, the whole menu is at your disposal if you're Kevin Patullo. So yes, I'm expecting them to take advantage of it. They're down to bare bones at linebacker. Eric Kendricks, who's been in the league for quite some time. They had to sign Kaiser White, former Eagle, and it's sort of a patchwork second level there. So Not only should you be able to capitalize on that in the ground game, but also Dallas Goedert should be able to really be a focal point in the offense. One would think, get him the ball over the middle, get him in space, allow him to shed some tacklers. And when he gets going, it tends to radiate. That energy really radiates throughout the sideline. So I think it could be a huge Dallas Goedert game, or at least in terms of volume.
Yeah, good point there, Andrew DiCecco. I'm glad you brought that up because Goddard, a guy that in this game, yes, should be able to go with some big plays. There should be a lot of stuff available down the middle of the field if they like to go down the middle of the field, which has been a little bit of their bugaboo. They should have plays on the outside, though, right? This is another area where San Francisco does struggle. Their outside corner is not an elite group here. This is where you say, now, the odd part is you got the run game kind of in your favor, but you got matchups that you should like on the outside, and they don't rush the passer very well at all.
No, just 18 sacks on the season, and I think if this game kind of unfolds the way I'm envisioning it, you run the ball heavily, and then you set it up to take advantage of opportunities in the second level, or the third level, I should say. Look, I like their secondary. They're far from being among the NFL's best, but they have some players like Diamador Lenore, who's going to see a lot of A.J. Brown, tough, physical, scrappy type of player. A.J. wins that battle, every day of the week. And then they have a couple of young safeties in Jair Brown from Penn State, Malik Mustafa. I had a nice chat with him at the NFL Combine. They fly around, but they're susceptible in coverage. And then you have Upton Stout, their diminutive nickel defender, who is really fun to watch. Good open field tackler, plays a lot bigger than his size would indicate, but they are ripe for the taking in my estimation, and I do believe there should be opportunities for some shot plays for the Eagles to take advantage of.
All right, Andrew DiCecco here, taking a look at some of the last couple things here. You mentioned before, we talked about the Niners played last week. They were up for the number 1 seed. They lost a linebacker in that game. They got beat up in that game. They scored 3 points in that game. They had scored 40-plus 2 straight weeks leading into the last week, and they come up with 3. The Eagles chose to rest it. What's the locker room vibe with the rest versus rust situation or playing, I guess? Did you sense at all that there was any thought from the players that they should have been out there? Because obviously, Andrew, some guys did play. Smith played. Defensive guys did play. But was it pretty well received that this was the best modus operandi for a deep playoff run?
Yes, based on everything that I've gathered and talking to players, yeah, the sentiment was pretty positive. It was something that they needed. There were a lot of players who were banged up. And when you really look at it, going into that game, you had, a banged-up offensive line, of course, but on the defensive side, which many are expecting to be the catalyst to fueling this Eagles postseason run, Jalen Phillips was ruled out of that game with an ankle injury. He played 17 games this season, hadn't had a bye week. Nakobe Dean was out with a hamstring injury. Marcus Epps with a concussion. You look at Jalen Carter was out of that game with a hip injury. So that week is going to proved to be, at least I think, instrumental in helping the Eagles get out to a faster start this postseason, because you need your defense to be as well rested as possible if you're expecting them, as they have all season, to really do the heavy lifting here. So, yes, I do think that it was well received, and just point to the injury report going into the Sunday's game tells you all you need to know.
All right, Andrew, obviously, the Niners are beat up here. Philadelphia's saying we took the week off, and that's the difference for us. What's the X factor for you? Philadelphia thought rest was their X factor. What's your X factor in a playoff game like this?
Yeah, I think the X factor is going to be, one, the rest, but how that's going to directly impact the running game. And the key to the Eagles' success starts up front with the offensive line, but Saquon Barkley, maybe a sprinkle in Tank Bigsby for 3 or 4 carries a game as a changeup. But that, if the Eagles are able to do that and they're able to control the game and dictate the way the defense plays, it's going to open up everything. That's the way that they want to play, and I think that is going to be the X factor. I do believe this running game is going to come alive in the postseason, which should open up a ton of doors for the Eagles moving forward.
All right, it's the Eagles and the Niners, and you can listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN, 3 o'clock with the coverage, 4:30. Merrill Reese, Mike Quick have all the action, and you can only hear it down the shore on 97.3 ESPN. He's Andrew DiCecco. Check out the Inside the Birds podcast for more from Andrew and the guys, and we'll talk all about it. Hopefully we're talking about a matchup next week. If not, the offseason will be interesting regardless of what happens, I would imagine, with the season we're going through right here. But, Andrew, as always, appreciate you, bud.
Appreciate you. Take care.
All right, there's Andrew DiCecco, everybody, from the Inside the Birds podcast, and you can check that out on all podcasting platforms with Andrew and, of course, Adam and Jeff and the great team of Football at 4. We bring you here every day, 4 o'clock. You get football on the Sports Bash. We told you earlier, Mike McDaniel, fired by the Dolphins. So another name drops in the coaching carousel. This is going to be wild. I mean, how many teams you got now? 8 teams that need head coaches. 8 teams need head coaches. Big names getting fired. Mike McDaniel, anybody interest there for Philadelphia? Would you be interested to see Mike McDaniel working with Jalen Hurts?
I think it would be a vast improvement over Kevin Patullo.
I do too. I would imagine. I don't know if does he get a head coaching job again? I think he has to go back to the coordinator ranks.
He has to go back to the coordinator ranks for 2 reasons. One, because of the reporting that came out earlier today about why he was fired. Apparently, he had a meeting with the owner, Stephen Ross, a couple of days ago, Mike. And according to Jeff Darlington of ESPN, that meeting really soured Ross on keeping him as head coach. Remember, just last week they were saying that this guy was going to be involved in the GM search. And they said a week later, you know what? I'm not even comfortable with you being head coach anymore. We're going to hire a GM and then find a head coach.
Well, I mean, and as Darlington reported, that they love his intelligence and his offensive mind.
Right.
I definitely think he would profile better as an offensive coordinator than the guy who's leading the room.
And you know what? Maybe his experience in Miami will allow him to maybe accept that he has to take a step back and say, look, I need to go somewhere where, maybe my skills can be better used. And I think a team like Philadelphia would definitely fit that profile.
Well, we'll see. He's already being mentioned as somebody in Washington with Dan Quinn.
Right.
And he does have connections with Adam Peters from his time in San Francisco.
Correct.
So that's somebody to keep an eye on. And I like McDaniel as an offensive play caller. I like Kingsbury as a play caller. I don't want him to be my head coach. So right now, McDaniel, Kingsbury, Brian Dable would be three guys I would say 100% you got to move on from Patullo no matter what happens here. Can't have this offense again.
I agree, but the question is how willing and open is Sirianni going to be letting a guy who is very different than his offensive system come in?
If the offense fails them again in these playoffs, in other words, they lose this week or next week, and in the end, you lost a game because your offense was so inept, you don't get that say anymore. I'm sorry. You got the say when you won the Super Bowl. That's where you got your cred. You won the Super Bowl. You got to pick your guy. The next year, we lost because your offense was not good enough. And therefore, you're done. You don't get to pick the guy again.
Yeah, because I think what's interesting is, we've heard a lot of people, we have the audio from Nick Foles and Richard Sherman talk about it. We've heard Dan Orlovsky talk about this. A lot of former players have talked about the fact that they believe that Jalen Hurts can do more, but the offense is not letting him do more.
All right, well, coming up, we got the Nuggets today. Earnshaw's back at his normal spot. One thought every playoff game with DiCecco Joyner coming up at 5 o'clock tonight as well. Don't forget, we are live at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City at the Tropicana in Atlantic City. Of course, they have every single game on that you'd want to watch, including tonight's Flyers game. You can listen to the game on 97.3 ESPN against the Leafs, and then we'll take you to the Fiesta Bowl. If you're looking for the Fiesta Bowl from the start, that game will be on Rock 104.1 tonight. And then, of course, tomorrow, Peach Bowl, same situation. Sixers on 97.3 ESPN, Peach Bowl on Rock 104.1. So if you're looking for the college football playoffs tonight, Rock 104.1, Flyers tonight here, Sixers tonight here, college football playoffs, Rock 104.1. More Sports Bash live at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City on 97.3 ESPN.
The wait is over.
Touchdown!
The quest for the Lombardi returns to South Philly. It's the wild card round as the number 3 seeded Eagles host the 6 seeded San Francisco 49ers at the Link. Don't miss a single snap with the legends. Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the exciting playoff action.
Here comes the launch. They've got him!
Coverage begins this Sunday with the pregame at 3 p.m., followed by kickoff at 4:30. The playoffs live here. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles playoff station. You're listening to the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
When I'm driving, I got a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't. He talks to me.
On 97.3 ESPN.
All right, welcome back. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Good stuff from Andrew DiCecco, our football at 4. Today, we're live at Chickies and Pete's. My guy Nick's behind the bar there. I haven't seen you in a while, Nick. Happy New Year. He's walking away the other way. Can't hear me. I like so we're like in the DJ booth area when you come to Chickies and Pete's.
For years, right? I mean,
yeah,
for
we're always
years.
in this like DJ. So it looks like we have this whole area like to ourselves, right?
Yep.
But there's like this is where they like play all the music and like the televisions and everything. But the lady who worked here was asking me if the same songs kept playing over and over again. I'm like, I don't know, I can't hear them.
They do have a good playlist here usually from time.
Yeah. She's like, are the same songs playing over and over again? I said, I don't know. I can't hear them. I mean, I got headphones on. So a lot of times people will walk up to me and they start asking me questions. And I'm like, I can't. Does a guy with the headsets on look like he can hear?
No.
You ever walk up to a guy with headsets and just start talking to him and wonder why he doesn't respond?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I ever would do that. Like an airplane. I don't even think I would do that on an airplane.
All right, let's get to the Nuggets today. Nick Earnshaw, today's Knicks Nuggets. We got a bunch of Nuggets dropping today. Nugs?
Oh, what's going on, guys?
Now,
Glad to see Cheap Seats back. Cheap Seats Pete is back in the saddle.
Now, Nuggets, I'm trying to get Cheap Seats Pete to get into the football playoff pool, but he's being Cheap Seats Pete.
That's right.
Well, that's
Gotta
why he
live
sits
up
in the
to the
cheap
bit.
seats.
Gee,
Right.
well,
Me.
he can upgrade those seats if he wins the pool.
It's true.
Very true. Can't win if you don't play.
Earnshaw's in.
I'm in this month. College, I was out for a little while.
Well, we did this poll. So for the listeners out there, just a little fun this year. All right, we did a little poll every month, every week of the college football playoff season. You picked 5 games, any 5 games you wanted. You turned them into me, and then you did that for the whole month. So September, October, November, and then for December, we did the bowl games. So now that's over. So I said, we'll do it for the NFL playoffs. Every game against the spread, wild card, divisional round, NFC championship, Super Bowl. So you get the whole month of games for one low price. Right?
Yeah.
And Pete G says he's out. Now, a lot of people in the college, you could get in or out based on the month. Like some people, in the first month, we had like 4 people. The second month, it went up to 8. The third month, we had 8. Then it went back down to 4 as people were getting their brains beat in.
Yes, I was one of those people.
Like Earnshaw said, I'm out. Schwein, meanwhile, today, I mean, does Schwein know how to not answer in the actual group text?
I don't know. This is why we
said
do the Billy versus technology segment on the weekend sometimes.
That's a great I texted him on the side today because he texted back to the whole group like, blah, 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 blah. I said, Bill, you can text me on the side when you embarrass yourself. You don't need to embarrass yourself in front of all the people in the group.
Listen, he was sending me wrong emails today for people. I mean, it was just unbelievable. He was having a day versus technology. Not his cup of tea. And this AI, when I introduced him to AI, I mean, that was a whole nother world to him.
Well, so the other day, we have the program that we use to do the video portion of the show, to which, it's not cheap.
No.
And I've been paying for it like the last year, unbeknownst to him. So I said, hey, Billy, you're going to have to get your own stream because I'm not using that anymore. I'm doing something different, blah, 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 blah. He didn't realize someone was paying for it. So he said, well, how do I do it? I said, well, you're a grown man, Billy. I think you can figure it out. It's not all that hard. Sign up for one.
Billy versus technology. It's the battle of ages oldest die. It's how it goes.
Good segment. It's a good segment.
Absolutely.
All right, what do we got in the Nuggets today? We got a lot of stories going on.
I'm ready to go. I mean, the fight in Phil's setting up a meeting with Bo. Go get Bo. I mean, I love this. This is unbelievable. I didn't think this would happen. We'd even get this far. Here we are, JT. You overplayed your hand there, pal. Okay? And now they're meeting with Bo Bichette. You can skedaddle out. I don't even care about JT Realmuto. You can move on. He's cooked, all right? He's cooked, all right? And you go get Bo Bichette if you have a chance to go get him. He's younger than Bohm. He's younger than Stott. He had a fantastic year before he went down last year. And guess what? He doesn't strike out very much. Last year, he had a 14.5% strikeout rate, a career low. He only struck out 19.4% in his career. That's pretty decent, to say the least. That's what I love about it. He doesn't strike out. So that's fantastic. Now, I was reading an article.
Last year,
yes. But for his career, it's 19%. Last year, down to 14. Very good
well,
stuff.
I was going to say, because he had a really, really good year.
24, not so good.
Right. In 2024, now he was hurt. He missed half the season. He only hit 225 that season with 4 homers in 81 games. Those numbers are not good.
But that guy in Game 7 who hits the homer off of Ohtani,
right?
Give me that guy.
Now,
I want that guy on my team.
To
be fair,
yes.
To be fair, that's really the only down year he's had. He's hit 311, 306, 290, 298, 301, 311. He had the one bad year in 04 when he played 81 games. I think that one had to do more with injury than anything. But he did strike out a bunch in 2023, 2024, 2021, 2022, 2021. He has cut down on the strikeouts. But
absolutely.
Just throwing that out there. No, 100% he is an upgrade over. Anybody who suggests adding Bichette would not help this team be better is clueless.
Yes. Now, the thing is the luxury tax thing. This is where this all comes into play. So, JT Realmuto, you're going to shed that, okay? You're not going to have to pay JT. You're going to probably have to move on from a Bohm or a Stott, one of the two, to make the money work. However, now, if they were to pay JT $15 million, I was reading this is according to John Stolas at SB Nation, right? Mm-hmm. If they were to sign JT to $15 million a year, right, it would be 25 to 30 because of it bleeding into the luxury tax. So the same type of thing would happen with Bo Bichette. If you give him $25 million, that's actually $50 million in 2026, based upon where they're at the threshold for 1 year.
For 1
year,
year,
cut down next year when they lose all the contracts. That's why it's important to get rid of Castellanos now. You got to get rid of Castellanos to shed that salary to help yourself out if you're John Middleton, who doesn't want to pay that third round of luxury tax.
Couple things there. One, you would also, according to the Gelb report, that they would have to get rid of both, not re-sign Realmuto, and then would have to also shed Bohm.
Yes.
So that would be $25 million potentially right there, because we're assuming $15 a year for Realmuto.
Yeah,
plus
but you'd still be into the tax. You'd still be into the tax and have to pay that 1 year of a decent chunk.
Correct, but I'm saying you have $25 million from those two players right there.
Correct.
You pay that, you bite the bullet on the salary, on the tax for the 1 year, and then those contracts lop off. Now, because that being said, no one's taking Castellanos off your hand. That we know. Every team in the league, if anybody has even a 0.1% interest, they don't have a high enough
Just fill
interest.
the soda machines like they did in Moneyball. Just all we're asking for. If you're Dave Dombrowski, get online too and say, hey, we'll take soda machines for Castellanos. We'll fill them up.
But if you're a team that has interest in Castellanos, okay, hey, I need a right-handed veteran bat. You know that no one's willing to give up anything to get him. So you can wait it out for the Phillies to release him, and then you go sign him yourself.
Yeah.
So that's why the Phillies are going to have problems trying to get rid of that contract.
Well, you also have the Taijuan Walker contract problem. That's also a factor into this, right?
Which is why you don't want to do a bad contract for bad contract swap.
Yep.
You're not saying, we'll give you a bad contract for your bad contract. No, I don't want your bad contract because I'm done with bad contracts. I already have 2 that I'm trying to get rid of. So don't give me back your bad contract. That's bad business.
Yeah,
and the Phillies have already indicated they are not going down the road of, hey, we'll give you Castellanos, you give us your bad contract. They're not doing that.
No, if they were to move on.
Is this just a way to fire a little warning shot to JT Realmuto?
Now,
I think JT,
or is this genuine interest?
I think JT misplayed his hand here, and it's starting to look kind of bad.
Yep.
You know, because it's almost like the Phillies made him an offer, probably too good of an offer, and he's saying no, 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 and he has no other interest out there, and he's trying to get them to go to a third year when he doesn't even have the offer that he wants on the table out there. He's trying to guilt the Phillies into, hey, loyalty, all of that. Everybody wants me here, and the Phillies, I think, to their credit, are not falling for it.
No, and I don't think they should. And if you can pivot and go get a star caliber player who just was in the World Series and he's young in the prime of his career, you do that over an aging catcher who's had knee surgery and is clearly declining with the bat and behind the dish. And we've made the argument, if you want to take the JT side of things, that yes, he has had success with the pitching staff, right? If you want to go down that road and make that argument, fine. I'll bite the bullet on that. Marshawn had plenty of success when he started last year with guys. I mean, he was fine. So if you go get another catcher maybe to pair with a Marshawn, then I think you're in good shape in that situation.
I don't even care if you bring Marshawn back and he's your catcher.
And put him in the 9 hole and forget about it.
It doesn't bother me. Marshawn will hit 230 with 10 homers. I don't know why everybody's so worried about this.
I would want to pair him with somebody else. That's what I would platoon. Oh, you can't pair him with Stubbs. I love Stubbs. I love the vibes, but the vibes haven't been great over the past couple
years. The vibes have been terrible.
Marshawn can play 120 games, and Stubbs can play the other 40.
All right, I would bring in. I would try if you can. If you have the money, go bring in another catcher. But that's where you're at with the Bichette in this situation.
People keep looking at Marshawn because he had such a little opportunity to actually play last year. You can't expect a guy to play once every 2 weeks and come in and hit 350. I mean, that's just not the way it works. But when he was given some playing time, some regular playing time in the past when guys have been injured, he actually swung the bat pretty well. And last year you saw him come up in some big moments, had some key hits. He'll hit 240. I mean, if you let him play every day, Marshawn, he'll hit 240.
Yeah, I would pair him with. I would platoon that position if you could with another catcher out there. That's what
I don't need to spend any more money on that position. I have him. He can throw. He'll throw runners out. He knows the pitcher's here. He'll hit 240 with 10 home runs. He's fine.
Now, what if this is just all a ploy to get JT to agree to the Phillies' terms? How disappointed would you be?
I don't think I would be extremely disappointed because I was going to say I don't think the Phillies really want him back. I think the Phillies have said
you can't bring him back.
I think the Phillies read the room. They offered him. He didn't say yes. They saw how upset everybody is with what they've done so far and kind of said, you know what? Yeah. Maybe this is our opportunity to get out of this mess. And I think they felt that JT is so popular that the fans would basically revolt if you let him walk, and it hasn't turned out that way. I think the fans are ready to move on from him, and I think they have taken the temperature to say, you know what? I think the fans are okay if JT walks.
Yeah, he was a very popular player. Don't get me wrong. But I think everyone kind of knows, especially after the way things ended over the past couple of seasons, it's time to move on and get better. You have to elevate this team. You have to change something up to make yourself a more viable opponent in the postseason. It just hasn't happened. You need a spark. And JT's not that spark anymore. I'm sorry. He was a great Philly. He was a fantastic catcher. It's time to move on. He's a declining player. You need a player that's in the prime of their career to help elevate you to get you to that next step with where you want to be and where you were in 2022.
Hey, listen, again, I would take a Bichette Marshawn combination over a JT Bohm combination.
I'm in on that. Now, if you move Bohm, what are you expecting to get back? Do you move him for maybe a catcher, a backup catcher, or do you move him for an outfielder or something like that?
Say again?
So if you're trading Bohm, do you move him for another backup catcher or an outfielder, or are you getting prospects back? Or you just kind of dump the salary?
No, I'm taking whatever I call all 30 teams.
Have fun in Pittsburgh, buddy.
Right. I call every team in the league, and I say, we're moving Alec Bohm. We're calling every team. Whoever comes up with the best offer, that's who's getting him. That's all. I'm not being greedy here. I just want to get the $10 million off my books.
Okay. Listen, I would love if they did that. John Heyman also reported today he had them as the number one option in his article today in the New York Post. So that's
trouble. See, now we're getting into the territory of this is Bo Bichette or bust, right? I mean, the fan base is getting all hot and bothered now.
Now, let me ask this question.
They have a meeting. Don Mattingly's here.
Now, do they have that guy?
Who leaks this out to Gelb? Because I can't imagine the Phillies, who are very tight-lipped on stuff, want people to get all excited and riled up. Now you're setting yourself up if this doesn't happen, that the fan base is highly disappointed. This is not good for the Phillies, right? They have to make this move.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to get, the fans are going to be fuming if they don't get this deal done.
Mr. Middleton's going to have to spend some stupid money. That's for damn sure.
Camp, right? Leaking this.
So do you send the construction worker out there like you did with Machado? Is he going to be there when he gets the CBP?
I said you send over Chase Utley. You have him take his shoes off, right?
Get him over from London.
He takes his shoes off like Dr. J did when he walks in the house. He sits down and says, look, playing second base for the Philadelphia Phillies was the best, X amount of years of my life. You could have that same path right now, sir.
Be awesome. Yeah, J-Roll, big piece. I mean, they all had like a podcast together for about 10 minutes. So, yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to bring the heavy hitters in. Everyone's got to come in on this one. Apparently, there was a report Heyman was saying. I think it was Heyman that reported it. The Phillies players were texting Bichette, trying to lure him to Philadelphia, too. I mean, we're getting into the nuts and bolts here. I mean, trying to get this guy to Philadelphia. I mean, we're elevating the hope of Bo.
A fire burning right now. Yep.
Again, if you don't end up getting him, the fans are going to be very disappointed. The Phillies are now their feet are to the fire here a little bit.
They're in Sixer territory now. Like what the Sixers had to do, go get Paul George the other year, right? And go get James Harden, trade Simmons for Harden, and get this guy and that guy. This is where you're at there, the Philadelphia Phillies. You bring in, you take the shoes off, you bring in whoever you need to do, you get the deal done. You can't let him leave on Monday without a deal.
Right. Because this
offseason
has not been good enough. It's not been good enough.
This is the move. Adolis Garcia cannot be the move of the offseason. This is the move. This is the move. Go get Bo. That's it.
Yeah.
One nugget for you. No, I'm just kidding. I got another one. I got a couple more nuggets. We'll get into them. But you got to go get Bo at this point. All right. Moving along. I want to talk about Jalen Hurts for a second. All right. He had an interesting quote the other day. I thought was fascinating. I believe it was during yesterday's press conference. I don't even know what day it is anymore. And I thought it was interesting whether he was asked about the decline in running has kept him healthy. And he said, no, the season has just gone the way it is. The approach this year and the way the games have been called with this coordinator, Coach KP, it's just kind of gone that way. I've taken it in stride and giving my best with the position they have put me in. Now, I want to play a soundbite from Nick Foles and hear what he had to say about the entirety of the offense. Take a listen.
I think there's sometimes where they're like, hey, we don't think he can do this. But then I would argue, you're a coach. Like, Jalen has shown the success he's had from high school to college, at both colleges he was at, Alabama and Oklahoma, to coming into the NFL as a second-round pick behind Carson Wentz, to now leading your team to 5 straight postseasons, 2 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl victory, Super Bowl MVP. Man, this guy wants to learn, and you never have all the answers. Even when I finished my career, I was always learning. You're always learning. But you need a great coach to teach you the ins and outs of the plays and the progressions.
And it just feels like he hasn't gotten that at all this year. It just hasn't even been close. And I heard your rant on KP earlier, which was absolutely sensational, Mr. Mike Gill. It was sensational. He will be the reason that they don't go far in the postseason. That will be the only reason they don't go far in the postseason, because this team's good enough. The defense is unbelievable. They have the talent on the offensive side. With the play calling, the scheme, everything will hold this team back. And I think they've held Hurts back. I don't think it's Hurts. And I know Hurts had a rough stretch throughout the season, but it's not Hurts. It's the coaching staff. And when you don't have consistency, they'll blame him. It's the easiest person to blame, in my opinion. But if you don't give this guy consistency at OC at some point, or just bring somebody in, it's going to be trouble, man, for the Eagles over the course of the next couple of years. You got to look to the future here, too, of who that coach is, because the guy hasn't had consistency ever at the OC position.
No, and that's why it's going to be a fine line here. If the Eagles, let's say they get knocked out this week and their offense lets them down again, I mean, obviously the offensive coordinator his job would be questioned here. But there's another party that says, do we want to bring in another offensive coordinator? That would be what, his 7th?
Gosh, since high school? Yeah.
Just in the pros. just since he's gotten here, he's had what? He had Sirianni, then Steichen, then he had
he had Doug for a year when he was kind of coming in for Wentz.
So he had the Doug offense at first.
Yeah.
Then he had the Sirianni play caller. Then he had the Steichen play caller. Then he had the Brian Johnson play caller. Then he had the Kellen Moore play caller.
6.
So this would be it. Next year would be his 7th if he gets another new one. So, at some point you got to give him some stability there, but at the same time, you can't go through this again. I was talking about this earlier. If you played the Philadelphia Eagles and you were like, how the hell are we going to defend A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley, and they got the MVP of the Super Bowl? Like, the personnel on this team should give you nightmares, but the scheme doesn't do anything to scare you.
No, and I want to pose this question. How far do the Eagles have to go for KP to keep his job? Does the Super Bowl suffice? Like, if you just make it there and lose, does that suffice? A championship game? Is he back no matter what? Like, you win the Super Bowl and the offense, you win anemically. Like, you win where the offense really isn't doing much. You won because of your defense. Does he still come back? Like, that'd be crazy. Like, you fire the offensive coordinator after winning a Super Bowl or getting to the Super Bowl. I like that. It's weird.
It's a fair question to even ponder. I would say that. Now, that being said, I don't know how you fire the guy when you win the Super Bowl, but if you win the Super Bowl painfully, you could certainly say, look, we have to make a change here because next year we don't think that we can get through another season playing so conservative.
You demote him, put him back to his old position as pass game coordinator. Is that what you do?
Well, that's an interesting point. I was bringing this up earlier. The guy is not a complete idiot. He was on the staff that won the Super Bowl, and he did something to be a part of that team. He wasn't sitting in the broom closet with Howie Roseman of the past.
No.
He had some reason to be here on teams that went to a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, and so I do – that's why he's not my number one problem.
He's my number one problem. However, you could demote him, move him to another role. He's great in that role. He did not work out in this role. You keep him in the building.
We just saw, according to some reports, now there's some pushback on this, I guess, about Harbaugh and that he wanted to bring back the two coordinators, and they were not thrilled with that, and that's when it kind of went awry.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could see that happening. I mean, you could literally see the same thing happen here. I think, last year they win the Super Bowl. Sirianni wins the Super Bowl, and he says, look, hey, it's Kevin's turn. He's been here. He has put in all the work. It's his opportunity. But if this doesn't go well, then, it's your ass, basically.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough position to be in if you're the Eagles, especially if you have success throughout the postseason this year. It remains to be seen. We got a lot of football to play in the postseason, but I do want to get something in real quick. I don't know if you guys saw Final Nugget. Do you remember how we were talking about the Jets, and the Jets were the first team ever not to have an interception all year?
Yep.
Very interesting thing. They posted today that they were the first team since the 23 season to start the same 5 offensive linemen for all 17 games. And they were getting roasted, pummeled on social media for posting a stat like that. Read the room, guys. Come on now. Imagine if a Philadelphia team posted some stat like that after being that dismal for that long. Unbelievable.
That's a pretty admirable thing, though. You had all 5 starting offensive linemen.
Yeah. What'd it get you?
Well, that's
5 bad offensive linemen.
Yeah.
We played the same 5 crappy offensive linemen all year. That's what they
got.
Tweeted.
What? How many wins? How many wins?
What team was it that wished somebody a happy birthday and then he was fired the next day? That just happened recently. I think
I saw
Gannon. It was Gannon.
Was it Gannon?
Birthday, yeah,
it might have been Gannon. The Wizards posted one of the players they traded for Trae Young yesterday. Got the advertisement in right before. It was an ad on social media with that player in it. They got it in right before the trade.
C.J. McCollum traded to Atlanta along with Kispert for Trae Young last night.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah,
And
I believe it was
Kispert. What'd you say?
I believe it was Kispert who was the player
Corey
who they
Kispert,
posted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Nick Nurse last night said he knew that they were the guys traded because they were listed as sick, but he saw them both hanging out like they were. Like they weren't sick.
That's like you, Nuggets.
Yep.
Fake sick.
Fake sick.
Give me a break. Give me a break.
There's a
Here we
parting
go.
shot for you right there.
Here we
Nuggets.
go. All right, there we go, guys. 3-pack for you today.
That's the Nuggets for today, and they'll be back again tomorrow, getting you ready for the Eagles and the Niners. We're live at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City at the Tropicana. Hey, don't forget, coming up next hour, One Thought every playoff game. We'll break down the games with DiCecco Joyner from The Athletic. That is coming up next, One Thought every game, live today at Chickies and Pete's in Atlantic City. Go where the players go. The A.J. Brown Sweet Heat Hot Wings. Excellent for the playoff run. Plus Flyers Leafs tonight, Pete. You can listen to that game
I'm on that
97.3 ESPN. And the NFL playoffs on Saturday. We got you covered. If you're looking for the Fiesta Bowl tonight, it's on our sister station, Rock 104.1. Yeah, Henning?
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him. It's a sack.
Sixers.
Oh, baby.
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
All right, final hour of the show. You know what it means. Thursday, it's One Thought Every Game. It's the wild card edition, One Thought Every Game. DiCecco Joyner is here. He's brought to you by BMW of Atlantic City. Your luxury BMW experience is closer than you think. Take advantage of exceptional savings and experience luxury today. BMW Atlantic City, Egg Harbor Township. This is the luxury edition of One Thought Every Game. It's the playoff edition, and DiCecco Joyner is back, and he's got something new that he's going to be starting for the playoffs as well. And our listeners out there can take advantage of this right away. Casey, what's going on? Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year to you. I decided I'll post about it tomorrow for tomorrow's posting thing. I'm going to be starting a Substack. I've been thinking about doing it for a long time, finally taking the dive. It's at DiCeccoJoyner.substack.com. I'm going to be making 2 posts to go up tomorrow morning. One's going to be the introductory post telling everybody what this is going to be all about. The second one's going to be free previews of all 6 wildcard games. So if you go to DiCeccoJoyner.substack.com, just sign up. Tomorrow morning, you will have a full preview of all 6 wildcard games again, plus a note to tell exactly what this thing's going to be all about.
And so if you're a fan of the One Thought Every Game segment, you'll get many thoughts on these games, not just one thought. We'll get a little bit more than one thought on some of these games since our schedule's a little bit more compact. So let's dive into the matchups here, One Thought Every Game. We'll start with the Eagles and the 49ers. We'll go a little deeper on that game. And Casey, you know, the Eagles' offense has been just a disaster. I mean, it has been a mess. And I don't know, if you're playing a hand of poker, you're looking for an out here. Do you see an out to this offense breaking free? Or is this, we're 18 weeks in, this is who they are and what they are?
Yeah, this is who they are and what they are. And the thing is that when you're looking at, you just can't change your identity this far into a season. You just do. So the Eagles,
do they have an identity?
I think their identity is, let's play conservative football. They're not the 1990 Giants. Don't get me wrong. They're not, that kind of ground and pound, but that's who they are. We're going to play really conservative. We're going to win the turnover battle. We hope we're going to win special teams. We're going to make you turn the ball over. We can run the ball effectively, even if not, it was big plays. That's who we are. We win those sorts of games. We play high percentage football, and you're going to have to play high percentage football to beat us. I think that's the formula they got to stick with. It's boring. It's not big plays on offense, but that's who they are. And if they get away from that in this game or any time during the playoffs, that'll be the end of their playoff run.
So, I mean, their margin of error is very small then, is what you're basically saying here. Are they more equipped then? You're watching San Francisco's defense. They are small up front. They don't rush the passer all that well. 20 sacks this year, worst in the league. Worst pressure rate in all of football. One of the worst pressure rates in the history of football. So, do you throw the ball on this team or do you run the ball on this team?
Yeah, you're right about the pressure rate. Although in the last 4 weeks of the season, San Francisco, they moved up their pass pressure rate. It was atrocious. Now it's just bad, which is still not good for them. But their sack rate is horrible. They can't stop the run either. That's the thing. You want pass the ball against them? They're giving up 5.1 yards per rush on planned rushes over the last 4 weeks. They're 24th in fantasy points per game allowed during that time frame. I mean, they're not doing very well there. They don't cover the tight ends very well. They're 26th in points there. They're 30th in vertical points. So you can really go whichever way you want. But again, the Eagles have played we are a high percentage team. So, yeah, you can throw the ball, but all right, the Niners, do you want to give them a chance to get some picks? This isn't the Jets. I mean, you might be risking interceptions here,
Well, I mean, listen, if you have plenty of time to throw, they don't rush the passer all that well.
Yeah.
They don't get to the quarterback all that well. You would think A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you might like those matchups on the outside, but they just don't scheme anybody open.
No, they don't. They don't scheme anybody open. And San Francisco, as far as their coverage metrics, as far as their individual coverage metrics, I mean, Jair Brown, their safety, he's at 10 yards per target. But they got a bunch of other people who are below 6 yards per target, like Renardo Green's at 6.2. Those are solid numbers. You don't want to throw against guys with that sort of coverage. So if you're San Francisco, say, we don't get a pass rush and all that, but you know what? We cover pretty well. So again, if I'm the Eagles and I can see that the Niners can't stop the run, 5.1 yards per carry on planned rushes over the past 4 weeks, I want to run the ball a lot and then just take my chances on certain types of plays. And again, with those tight end numbers, maybe get Goddard involved.
Well, that's a great point. And the question is, do you trust the Eagles' offensive line can get enough push that they can run the ball? Every week we look at it, they say, well, they should be able to run the ball here, and they can't.
Other teams play them to make sure you don't get big plays. I mean, you can get a good percentage of rushes or solid rushes. They do find there. They just don't get the big plays. That's the thing that stands out. Like San Francisco's allowing 460 yards on planned rushes over the past 4 weeks. That's okay. That's it. It's 5.1 yards per carry. If they were sitting at 4.1, I'd say, man, don't try them. But San Francisco, they take some chances on defense too, and that's the thing. You want to get them. You get that whole thing of bringing the safety down and all that. That's a bit overrated as far as how you stop the run. But it is one of those things where, hey, if they're going to bring the safety down, if they bring the safety down, it changes what they can do in the passing game. That you can do certain things there. I don't think it's as much against the run because if they want to stop the run, they could do it with 7. But the point is that if I'm the Eagles, I want to take see what I could do in the ground game against that 5.1 yards per rush. Start there. And then say, okay, I'm going to try and counterpunch with the passes. I don't want to lean on the passes.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Casey Joyner, one thought every game. One thing here is, last week, as much as the personnel for San Francisco is not great, they only gave up 13 points to Seattle, who's the number 1 seed. So there's no reason you should be some cocky offense thinking that you're going to go in there and throw the ball or run the ball all over this team.
If you start to pass, if you start to be aggressive, then they start to be aggressive. It's one of the things like when you start looking at expected points added for plays, is one way to view things. You find that the passing plays, you get more passing plays. And all the analytic people are like, pass. All right, the reason you don't pass as much, it's very volatile. In fact, Bill Parcells used to say if he had a game where his team was less talented, he wanted to throw the ball more because then he'd get the other team to throw the ball more, and that's a volatility contest. Whereas if you're trying to win a percentage game, you're going to play low volatility. I'm the Eagles. I still want to go low volatility and say, fine, hey, I don't want to get into a shootout with the Niners because for all that Brock Purdy does, if you get into a shootout, I like him in a shootout mode versus Jalen Hurts in a shootout mode.
Well, I'm glad you went there because you look at the Eagles' defense. I mean, Vic Fangio against Shanahan. I mean, he has dominated that matchup here, and you feel pretty good about the matchups for Philadelphia, especially up front. I mean, you got Trent Williams. He was back at practice today, but you would imagine that he is going to not be 100%. But Philadelphia should be able to get some pressure in this game.
Yeah, and I can imagine. Think of a situation where, say, the Eagles get up 10-0, and then the Niners start to be more aggressive. Oh, if I'm Fangio, I like that because Purdy will take chances. He's that kind of a guy. He's going to force pass in the coverage. It's just who he is. And if you can get the situation where Purdy's forcing pass in the coverage, and you don't have to have Purdy force pass in the coverage, you don't have to say, hey, we're gonna, they're gonna sit back like the Chargers game where they're sitting back and just playing spot drop coverage, spot drop coverage and picking up passes. Hey, I don't want Hurts going to get to anything like that, and the Niners can still do plenty of that. I want to be the guy. I want to be on the side of where, hey, we're ahead, and we're going to make Purdy throw the ball. Because again, if Purdy's going to have to take chances, I think it's bad for San Francisco.
And you should feel pretty good with Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Adoree Jackson in the secondary against the matchups on the outside for San Francisco. They're limited on the outside. Your problem would be McCaffrey and getting him into space, and also what the Bears did against you, a lot of misdirection in the run game.
Yeah, if I'm the Eagles, I definitely want them throwing the football more because I don't want to see what they're doing with McCaffrey because they can be really, really creative. The Niners are not as creative in the run game like they were with McDaniel a few years ago. They're not quite that much, but they're still very creative. It's a lot of what they do. And they can mimic what Chicago did. And if you're the Niners, or if you're the Eagles, again, that's why I want to get the Eagles to throw the football, because I don't want them testing the run defense in that way. I want them trying to test Fangio's coverage, because if they're able to test Fangio's coverage, I'm good at that, because I can get the pass rush and I can get interceptions. If they've got McCaffrey doing a bunch of things, and mind you, he can do whatever you want. Gap zone, any kind of crazy plays like that, he could do it all. So, yeah, I want to see McCaffrey more Purdy.
And you throw Kittle into the mix, too. That's two guys in the middle of the field you got to account for. You know, you only have one Cooper DeJean, and you might say if you're San Francisco, hey, Nakobe Dean's coming back from a hamstring. Let him test that baby out, because we're going to try to, go over the middle line. I would imagine if I'm San Francisco, you're talking about a shootout. They probably feel better about a shootout, but they probably want this game to be a rock fight.
You would think the Eagles are third in tight end points allowed over the past 4 weeks. They're fourth in vertical points allowed. They only allowed 9 completions and 20 attempts at vertical passes last 4 weeks of the season. And I know part of it's the last game and all, but still, that's really good numbers. Their coverage metrics are solid, are really good. DeJean's 5 point. I mean, he's the most targeted guy in the Eagles secondary the last 3 games of the season, because he didn't play fourth, but only 5.8 yards per target. That's really good. Yeah, if I'm the Eagles, I don't want to go after that. But if you're the Niners, again, you want to get into shootout mode. Yeah, that's the thing. Because I think if both teams commit 2 turnovers, if both teams had two turnovers, I think the Niners win that matchup. I think the Eagles have to win the turnover battle. It can't just be even. They got to win the turnover battle, because I just think the Niners can make more big plays.
Well, when the Eagles win the turnover battle, we know they are very, very difficult. By the way, Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. Barkley is number 2 in postseason history in yards per scrimmage. From scrimmage. McCaffrey is number 4. Which of those two has the bigger game? That might separate it. We'll get Casey Joyner's take on who wins this game and why coming up in a little bit. But let's get into one thought every game, and we'll do it right now here on the Sports Bash Live 97.3 ESPN. We'll start with the Saturday game. And normally that early Saturday game, that's kind of the throwaway game. But the Rams and the Panthers just played about a month ago in Carolina. Carolina won that game. Is this a throwaway game for you, or is this a scary spot for L.A.?
Scary spot for L.A. And mind you, I think all of this is one of the best sets of wild card matchups we've had in forever. There's no dud games, because that Rams-Panthers game, they won. And mind you, I look at I read the article for the Athletic as a confidence picks article. You can find it right now at the Athletic under my section. When I did the analysis for the game, I looked at 10 different sections, and the Panthers went toe-to-toe with LA in many metric areas, and they have better special teams. And they're at home. I look at that going, wow, it's like this was a lot closer than I thought it'd be, not just based on that earlier game, but how they've been playing of late. I think the Rams' offensive firepower is going to be enough for the win, but they were 10.5-point favorites when I wrote the article. I just don't think they'll cover that.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at what happened in that first game there. That was a game the Rams needed, and they couldn't get anything going on that game in that first meeting out there. Now, the Panthers did not play well last week. The Rams, though, I mean, they didn't play well the previous 2 weeks. They had to play their starters last week to avoid Philadelphia to try to set this game up, but they haven't been lighting the world on fire either. What's going on with the Rams' offense?
Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you a bigger problem, actually, for the Rams' defense. The Rams' defense over the last 4 weeks of the season, and this has been consistent like the past 6-8 weeks, allowed 8.9 points per game on vertical passes. That's 29th in the league. They're 24 out of 38 for 535 yards, a 63.2% completion rate of vertical passes, 14.1 yards per attempt. They're just terrible numbers, and I don't think that Carolina's going to be throwing deep at things, but if you look at the Rams, it's like the Rams have to protect that secondary, because that's going to be something to Carolina. Again, if they wanted to go shootout mode, it's kind of what they did in that first game. They ran the ball up, but they got in the shootout mode, and mind you, they beat the Rams because the Rams secondary is not good right now.
You like the Rams in this game?
I still like the Rams in this game, because I think they've got enough firepower, and because that game, I think they also had a bit of a trap game coming up and going across the country. I don't think that'll be a trap game for them. But having said that, I still think Carolina keeps it close, because I mentioned that vertical points thing. Carolina, 5th in the league in vertical points allowed over the past 4 weeks, only 17 of 29, 10.6 yards per attempt, 3 picks. I mean, they're really good in the secondary. So the Rams, they got their work cut out from. If I'm them, I lean on Corum, and I lean on Kyron Williams. I just want to give 1-2 punch of that and go vertical counter punching rather than try and get shootout.
All right, one thought every game. Let's go to the Saturday night game. You got Green Bay against the Bears. All right, this game interesting. They just played a couple weeks ago. You needed an onside kick from Chicago. They get it, and they win that game. 2 weeks prior to that, Green Bay won the game. Who wins the rubber match? How's this one go?
Yeah, you'd think that it would be, looking at the Bears situation, because the Bears, you'd think, I would have thought going in, okay, they're not going to do as well as the Packers. They're not going to rate quite as well in this. But in my analysis, I'm looking at the categories right now.
I don't know how you did that, but I can't hear you. I can't. We can't hear you. You might have to back out and then come back in here. All right, he's giving me the okay sign that he is frozen there for a second. Something was happening with Kay. He just all of a sudden vanished there. All right, one thought every game. We'll do that, and we'll bring him back into the mix here. There he is. All right, let's see if we got him back. Screen, there we go. Okay, I hear you. There you go. I don't know what happened there. You vanished.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The screen shut up and everything. I got all those 10 categories I mentioned I do for this article. Green Bay didn't win a single one. I was shocked. I was like, wow. I go in blind to make sure I'm not trying to look way either way. I'm just looking at the metrics, trying to make sure, okay, I'm measuring it just on the metrics things. And I got out of it and like, wow, Green Bay didn't win a single one. Chicago's better pass block, better rush defense, better pass rush, better special teams, and then the home team too. So I'm like, I was surprised there. I think, and I know this is only a 1 point spread for the Packers. At least it wasn't. I wrote the article, but
yeah,
I think Chicago's going to win this fairly handily. I think they're a much better team right now.
Well, the Packers are just so banged up, right? You just don't know what to expect of them. And then Love hasn't played in a couple of weeks. I mean, he's just jumping back into this game. Although the Bears last week couldn't get the offense going. The week before, they couldn't stop anybody. And the week before that, they needed an onside kick. They could be going into this game realistically on a 3-game losing streak, the Bears. You wonder if they're just out of gas.
Yeah, that is out of gas is a good way to put it, that whole approach, because that's why coaches, they want to set the standard. Bill Walsh used to say you can't get fired up for too many games. You want to just set a standard, because you're trying to get fired up. You can't do it all the time, and you're gonna hit the wall sometimes. I wonder if the Bears got to that point in things. And again, the Packers are used to making a postseason run. This is new to the Bears, so that is, if there was a path to victory for Green Bay, I think that would be it. That Chicago would kind of get tighten up and get rattled by this. I still think I'll take the Bears to win even with that, but that's their path to victory. Is if you can get Jordan Love, if he can make some plays and things early on and start putting the pressure on Chicago, I think that would be a path to victory for Green Bay.
Well, and sometimes you get these new kids on the block. The Bears haven't made the playoffs in a couple of years. That the regular season success almost is where you put all your energy into, and then you kind of fall flat once you get to the playoffs. We'll see that on Saturday night. Listen to it right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, let's go to the Bills and Jags on Sunday. The Bills, no Mahomes, no Lamar. You got Josh Allen. Is this your time? You got to go to Jacksonville. Right now, that team is playing outstanding.
They are. It's going to be so depressing for them that this should be the year. Mahomes, hey, all right, now we can get there, and it's like you don't even win your division, which, if you're Buffalo, it's going to be really, really frustrating and such. They played really well last week, because that was close in the stadium, probably a bit of an emotional high there. I was kind of surprised that Buffalo's a slight road favorite. At least they were 1 point favorite when I wrote the article. Because I'm looking at the stat reviews, Jacksonville's got better pass offense to the home team, better special teams. They're a healthier team. That's one of the factors to take into account. And Buffalo's got a better rush offense, but Jacksonville's not bad in rush offense. And Buffalo's better pass coverage, but it's been kind of inconsistent. And the Jaguars are on their 8-game winning streak. And I think they might have played their best game of the season in that Week 18 game. And I think that's why Cohen said, "I'm just going to keep going. And we're going to play hard to win the whole thing." And they did. And when you're on that kind of a roll and you're at home, Jacksonville's a tough place to win. I'm going to take Jags.
Likes the Jags in that one, and you can listen to it right here. Actually, no, we will not have that game due to the Eagles game on 97.3. That's the Sunday 1 o'clock game, so we will not have that game. So if you're looking for that one, we apologize for that. Let's go to the next game on the docket for that day, which is the Eagles game. Then we'll skip over that since we talked a little bit about that earlier. We'll go to the late-night game, which is the Patriots and the Chargers. And I don't know. This is another the Patriots are interesting because they're like the Bears, where they haven't been in the playoffs in a while. They have this great regular season. For whatever reason, I feel like I trust them more than I do the Bears.
Yeah, I can see that. And New England, it was a very, very close metric analysis when I did this one. Very close. The Chargers have a big edge in special teams. That's a big plus. And the better run defense. And I think but both defenses are really good. I mean, I've been talking about Jesse Minter all season long, how good of a defensive coordinator is. I mean, the Patriots are really good defense, too. So the numbers match up. The Patriots have a better rushing offense, even though the Chargers have, the 1-2 combination back. The Patriots rushing offense has been a bigger play offense. And their pass block is actually better, too. It's a big weakness for the Chargers. So I start looking at that, and I'm going, okay, New England's at home. I'll take New England to win, but I still think the metrics for this are so close that I think the Chargers will keep it closer probably than the point spread.
Okay, one thought every game will go to Monday night, and that is the Texans and the Steelers. You got this great Houston defense. You try to find a path for Pittsburgh to score against that defense, but Pittsburgh is at home, and they do have Aaron Rodgers. This could be the final Aaron Rodgers game we ever see, but Houston on the road, can they win a road playoff game? Do they have enough offense?
One thing that might help them, special teams. Look at one of the things I look at for the article is look at special teams expected points added for the last 4 weeks of the season. Texans 23.1, league leading number. I mean, that's really good. Adding 23 points over 4 games, that's basically almost 6 points a game that you're getting from special teams expected. The Steelers are in negative territory in that category. They're 21st at minus 4.3. So huge edge for Houston there. One thing is, that's the only edge they have. And I start looking at all the other categories, they have no other edges. So is special teams enough to win? They're not behind very far on the other categories. So, I think that they can keep up there. And I do think that special teams, the way the league is structured today, a couple, 3 years ago, wasn't such a big deal because the kickoffs didn't count, but really everybody kicked touchbacks. But because it's so big, I think Houston's going to I'll pick Houston to win the game. From a points perspective, I'll pick them to win the game. But this one's going to be really close. Since the special teams don't pan out, Pittsburgh wins.
All right, there you go. One thought every game. KC Joyner there. He likes Pittsburgh in that one. A little surprised by that. We'll see how it all unfolds. You can listen to that game Monday night on 97.3 ESPN. All right, let's go back to the top. Philly takes on the Niners. You can listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Jalen Hurts, playoff career, 10 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns. He's 6-3. Do we see him run more? Do we see the offense evolve? Well, how does this one all play out? How do you see it?
Niners are a big special teams edge as well. Almost a 17-point edge over the past 4 weeks, so that's a concern for the Eagles. You can't lose that in a big-time way. So I think overall, these teams rate very even in most areas. Where one team, and the thing is, for this analysis, usually it's like a small edge for teams in these things. Wherever a team had an edge in this analysis, the team had a much bigger edge. Like I consider San Francisco's passing offense to be much better. I consider Philadelphia's pass coverage and pass rush to be much better. And again, San Francisco's got much better special teams. I think San Francisco is a bit of the injury edge, or at least it did when I was looking at earlier this week. So there's an edge there. But when you get two teams that are this close like this and have big plays and such, the Eagles are at home, and the Eagles, I still trust I trust that they're going to be able to stick with we're not going to turn the ball over mode more than the Niners will be able to turn the game into a shootout mode. So I'll take the Eagles, but by just a small margin.
Well, and remember, Philly sat their guys last week, and the Niners did play, so the Eagles eventually coming off of a bye week here, so maybe they're a little extra refreshed to get in there. They are going to get Lane Johnson back, it looks like anyway. Nakobe Dean will return. The Eagles are getting some guys healthy here. San Francisco, they're down to like their 5th and 6th linebacker, too. So they are beat up on that defensive side of the ball. So we'll see it all unfold right here on Sunday, right here on 97.3 ESPN. KC Joyner, tell everybody again how they can find you.
They can find me. The thing you want to look up for right now is my new Substack. It starts tomorrow morning. I'm going to have an introductory post to tell you all about what this thing is going to be about, and I'm also doing a preview of all 6 wildcard games. So if you go to kcjoyner.substack.com and sign up tomorrow morning, you will get 2 emails, one telling you about the introduction of the site and one telling you about giving you a full 6 wildcard preview review. So all
right, more than one thought every game in the Substack from KC Joyner. All right, man, we'll talk to you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, KC Joyner, everybody. One thought every game here on the Sports Bash. All right, coming up, we got a lot to do still, including the text board, which has been buzzing all day long. We hit a lot of texts earlier, but we're going to finish off as many as we can from now to the end of the show. Good chance for you to get in. Eagles questions, Sixers questions, Phillies questions. Let's get the news out there. Apparently, according to reports, Matt Gelb from The Athletic, the Phillies are meeting with Bo Bichette. 609-403-0973. The Sixers' big three leads them to a victory last night. First time Embiid, Paul George, and Maxey all scored 20 points in the same game since they've all come together in Philadelphia. And the Sixers win handily last night. Flyers tonight against the Leafs. You can listen to that game right here on 97.3 ESPN. Flyers, Leafs, 7 o'clock, followed by the Fiesta Bowl. The Fiesta Bowl will start on our sister station, Rock 104.1. So if you're listening for the college football playoffs, Rock 104.1, Flyers and Leafs tonight on 97.3 ESPN. When we come back, we'll try to empty the text board tank. That's next. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
It's the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. We're at Chickies and Pete's at the Trop in Atlantic City. Welcome out to the Trop, everybody. If you're coming out tonight for the Flyers game or Fiesta Bowl, got Fiesta Bowl tonight, Peach Bowl tomorrow, Flyers tonight, Sixers tomorrow. So you got a lot going on. Then the weekend, you've got 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then Monday night, plus the Sixers play back-to-back Sunday, Monday. It's busy this time of the year with the winter teams all starting to ramp up. The calendar is flipped, right? The calendar is flipped. So now everything's kind of getting into second half mode. You're starting to think more about, trade deadline. Basketball trade deadline less than a month away. I would imagine the Sixers will not be active.
Yeah, I think this is their roster, right? I mean, they're.
I don't really know what they would need.
Yeah.
Other than health.
Yeah, can you trade for health?
Right. Can you guarantee me health, and I won't move anybody. All right, let's get to the text board, which is jamming today. Good job on the text board, everybody out there. 609-403-0973. All right, Josh, what do we got?
Let's go. So I'm going to go from most recent backwards because there's a whole cluster of texts that have nothing to do with the most recent conversation. I threw it there on Sports-like Moments. I'll get to those after we get to these texts.
A lot of reaction to that on Sportsmanlike Moment.
Yeah, but I want to save those as a separate cluster, okay? So let's start with Matt in Delaware. He just texted and says, Mike, not sure if you watched the Nuggets-Celtics game last night, but there is a challenge for a jump ball. I get the NBA wants to get the call right, but these stoppages and challenges are getting old in the NBA. Get the rules right, says Matt in Delaware.
Matt, I did see that. I was out having dinner last night, and they had that game on in the restaurant. Was the one that was in my eyesight. And the stoppages sometimes are – how about the one referee that did the Sixers game the other night?
Billy Kennedy.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
You're not a fan of his –
The fact that you know his name is the problem.
I think it's funny, but it doesn't mean that he should be doing it. If that's what you remember, he's now becoming part of the show, and that's not what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
I think it's funny, but it shouldn't be funny. He shouldn't be funny. A referee shouldn't be out there at the Trop Comedy Stop. When I walk out of here tonight, you have that little booth on the way to the elevator over there. You got that little, someone's always out there handing a card. Hey, we got comedy tonight. Yeah, it's the referee from the NBA.
Billy Kennedy.
Jeez.
Nice.
It is funny, though. I mean, he is
funny.
It's comical.
I agree.
Yeah. Ray in EHT, let's move on. Ray in EHT says, I wouldn't mind seeing Mike McDaniels come over, offense coordinator or something in the line of that. I think he was a bad play caller for Miami. I think the players just didn't execute very well at times. I'm going to reiterate what I said to you guys yesterday, says Ray in EHT. I like our chances against the Niners. I love that the Niners are hurt and we are healthy. Let's get it. FYI, I'm not a big baseball fan, but he says, I do think it's interesting about Bo Bichette. I think it takes us up a level of interest as well, says Ray in EHT.
Man, there was a lot there. I don't even remember what he said in the first part of it.
So the first part was about
McDaniel.
McDaniel.
He says he wouldn't mind if he's offensive coordinator or just coming in here to help it anyway.
Ray, I would take Mike McDaniel if they called him right now and said, you have today, tomorrow, and Saturday to install your offense.
I guarantee it's to be the greatest game plan of the season.
Dude, you don't need much, right? You put in 12 plays for the game, and you have somebody more creative. I have no I actually do agree that if Fangio and him had any relationship, I don't know what their relationship was like when he was in Miami, but if he knows them and can call them, I'd say, hey, do you mind coming to some of our practices? Do you mind coming to our practice tomorrow?
Mike, I would say,
to practice?
Can I just say, even if the relationship wasn't great, right? Let's say they broke up on bad terms, okay? Maybe, there could be a conversation, 2 adults having a conversation. Hey, listen, I know things didn't end on great terms, but could you just do me a solid here and come over here?
Less likely.
Sure.
I mean, I think he's going to be too busy interviewing for jobs.
Well, apparently the Lions have already reached out to him. So
Cleveland, I know, is interested.
Cleveland's interested.
I don't want him to be the head coach. I would have no problem with him McDaniel being the offensive coordinator. I think he's a very smart offensive mind.
To the whole OC thing.
And he was very limited with Tua.
Yes and no. I mean, Tua had one really good year when he was healthy. They had a high-powered offense when it was throwing to a healthy Tyreek Hill and a healthy Jalen Waddle. So I just think that, as a combination of one, Tua couldn't stay healthy, and two,
Tua was very limited.
They never built the offensive line properly.
Yeah.
I listen, Tua is middle of the road, but their offense was 2023, the year that the Eagles played them, their offense was outstanding. If you remember that night, that was the one game Desai put them in a blender
That was the best game Desai called all year.
Yep. And the Dolphins' offense was really good that
year.
year.
The 2023 Dolphins offense was second in the NFL in points per game.
That was when they scored 70 on the Broncos. Sorry, Tyrell. But yeah, 70-20. I remember that game.
By the way, for the people out there, Tyrell produces the video portion of our show, and he's a Broncos fan. So if you ever hear us make references to Tyrell, he's new. He is the guy who produces the video on YouTube and on X.
He's the man behind the curtain, or at least the other man behind the curtain.
Yep, good dude.
By the way,
I saw Tyrell not too long ago.
Tua that year, Pete, led the NFL in passing yards with 4,624.
But that's the Mike McDaniel effect.
That's the Mike McDaniel effect.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's not that Tua was the problem. He had a player. It's that he couldn't stay healthy.
I take Mike McDaniel today for the playoff run.
Really?
For the upcoming playoff run, I take the change now.
Because we're talking about the offensive coordinator stuff, I did want to play this audio today at some point. We didn't really get a chance to get to it earlier. But there was a comment that Richard Sherman made specifically about Patullo. So, a little background. For those who don't know, Kevin Patullo and Ryan Fitzpatrick are friends. Ryan Fitzpatrick is on the Amazon Prime games with Richard Sherman. Listen to what Sherman had to say about Patullo, and I know it's not going to make Eagle fans any happier. Let's put it that way.
Fitz is good friends with Kevin Patullo, so he reached out and he's like, people are just so hard on me, and it's not my fault, and they don't understand the inner workings. And it's like, Kevin, we get it, but when you're the offensive coordinator, with great power comes great responsibility and great burden and accountability. And so when you have A.J. Brown and you have Devontae Smith and you have Saquon Barkley, it hurts. And people see what he did last year in the Super Bowl. They see what he did in the playoffs. And people feel their ways about Hurts, but you're never going to not put him in the top 10 when you're ranking these quarterbacks. And he's efficient. He throws a great deep ball. He processes pretty well. He gets the ball where it needs to be. Something has changed.
There's not a lot to disagree with there. I think that Patullo has done a pretty bad job of playing to the strengths of Hurts' game, the receivers' game. It's just a whole mess of not having enough depth to your knowledge tree there. It's like, this is all I got, and if they're figuring me out, I got nothing else.
Well, what about also the part where he basically is talking about how, like, Patullo's basically complaining to Ryan Fitzpatrick about, basically people are being too hard on him. Like, dude, get over yourself.
Well, to me, week 18, that game against the Commanders, that exposed Kevin Patullo, right? He had a different quarterback in there. I know there's backups playing, whatever, but
with the same problems, Pete. The same exact problems.
Same awful play calling, same problems.
I thought the game, you're right. Again, the fact that it's the backups and people are like, it's a week. They were trying to win that game.
Yeah.
They weren't it wasn't a preseason game. They were trying to win the game.
Yep.
And he asked the backup quarterback to throw the ball
41 times.
Right, 40 times. In the game they weren't down 2 scores. It was 17-17 in the game. And he said, throw us to victory here. I mean, an idiot.
Absolutely. You know who's not an idiot is Johnny G from Ocean City.
Johnny G. No, Johnny G's a great dude.
Great guy. Johnny says, Mike, great show today. Casey Joyner's always good. Sixers looked better last night. He says, Flyers are playing well. It was at Tuesday's game. It was a lot of fun.
Oh.
Phillies are still a big question mark for you, but he says, go Birds. I think the Eagles win 23-17 this Sunday.
Well, Sixers have looked good they had the game on Monday night, which was inexcusably ridiculous. But they bounced back and blew the doors off that team, which they should have done. The Wizards are terrible. But the Sixers played well in New York against the Knicks, in Memphis against the Grizzlies, in Dallas against the Mavericks. Not great. The Knicks are a good team, and they beat them soundly. The Sixers have more talent than most of the teams they're playing now. They have depth. They have talent. They have stars. They've got the makings. I'll say the quiet part out loud here that people won't want to hear.
Don't say it.
Daryl Morey has done an excellent job with this roster. Just a couple things. One, he found Tyrese Maxey with what pick was that? The 25th?
Yeah, 20th.
20th.
I think it was 20 or 21.
That's one of the hardest things to do is find a guy like that in the 20s.
When you draft the guy in the 20s and he becomes a first-team All-NBA level player, that's an A for you.
21st overall.
Okay. He got Edgecombe at 3. And people would say, well, at 3, of course you got. No. How many people at 3 miss? And this draft was loaded with talent. He could have taken Ace Bailey. He could have taken Con Knippel. He could have taken Trey Johnson. And that doesn't mean those guys wouldn't have come here and fit in better, but they got the right guy at number 3. He nailed the 3rd pick, and it was not a slam dunk in this particular draft. People did not have a slam dunk pick at number 3. He nailed that pick. He went out and got Barlow on a 2-way deal. He's turned into a starting player for this team. He went out and got Grimes last year in that trade that everybody kind of just like whatever. He got the Caleb Martin deal off the books for Grimes. Grimes is now in the running for 6th man of the year, and he got the Caleb Martin deal off the books there. That deal has worked out for them. He drafted Bona in the 2nd round. That has turned into a nice pick for them. And then the other things, of course, the Embiid and Paul George, the things he gets criticized for, which is fair to say they were not good contracts. That's the price of doing business in the NBA, though. You want to sign Paul George, you don't get to negotiate. It's a slotted deal, right? He is a max player by NBA definition. So it's not like you can have a negotiation like, well, we don't want to pay you the max. We only want to give you – no, you either take it or leave it. So I don't love the deal, but he now has Paul George, who's turned into a nice piece on this team. You got Embiid, who's starting to really play well. But he has really done a good job of putting a roster together that fits together.
Some more text to get to here, Mike. Chris in Delaware had a question a little bit earlier for you. He said, do you guys really think a Dable or McDaniel want to come to run Sirianni's offense knowing they want to be head coaches again at some point? They're most likely going to want to go run their offense, not someone like Sirianni's offense. Does Howie tell Sirianni his offense is done, says Chris in Delaware.
Sirianni, you're right. Yeah, Howie might say to Sirianni, look, I let you run your offense. I let you hire your guy. Now I get to make my decision. Now, some people believe that he was the guy who got Kellen Moore, but Kellen Moore, I think, got kind of held back a little bit on Sirianni's offense. That point that the guy made in that text message, Chris in Delaware, it is a valid point. Does Brian Dable want to come here and have to run this offense, or Mike McDaniel? No, these guys are going to want to come here and say, it's my offense. Otherwise, I'm not coming here. So, yeah, that's a good point by him. Valid.
A couple of texters' reactions to Courtney Cronin's take on all games should be indoors, which Mike Gill vehemently disagreed with. Let's start with Matt in KMA Courthouse. Said, I had tickets to the Eagles-Lions game. I never made it to the game because my sister was in an accident. He says, but I'll never forget that game and how historic and beautiful it looks, says Matt in KMA Courthouse.
The which game?
Lions.
Eagles-Lions game.
Eagles-Lions game. Oh, the one in with LaShawn McCoy. That was, I remember that day. It was a early September day, because I want to say.
I'll pull it up.
That, I'm going to guess December, 5th, somewhere in that range. And I say that because I believe either Mainland or Holy Spirit, one of the local teams, was playing on the same day at Rutgers.
It was December 8th.
Okay, so I was close.
Good call.
And I believe
that's going back, by the way. That's a long time ago.
12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Yeah, and I think Mainland was playing at Rutgers in the state finals, one of those sectional final games. They play them at Rutgers. Was that at Rutgers or were at Meadowlands that year? What year are we talking about here?
2013.
2013. So, man, there you go. That's what I got for you on that.
By the way, can you?
I've used enough of my
I think
the back end of my memory.
You've reached pretty deep into the reservoir there, Mike. Paul from Millville says, I bought a ticket to the Raiders-Eagles game this year because I woke up and saw it snowing outside, hoping it was going to be a snow game because I wanted to be in the stands.
So the potential for snow got him to buy a ticket.
Right. He says, I was there for the snow game at the Link versus the Lions, and I wanted to repeat affair 12 years later, says Paul in Millville.
Instead of deterring him.
It encouraged him.
Yeah. So there you go, Courtney Cronin.
By the way, John and Kate May says, he says the Eagles-49ers, the Eagles-Rams snow game is one of my favorite games I've ever attended.
Playoff game last year.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know a person that says, I went to a football game in the snow and it sucked. Have you? No. Courtney Cronin. I mean, come on. What are we doing?
By the way, I think that was Holy Spirit in that game you're talking about against DePaul.
Okay, 2013. Where was it?
I'm trying to locate that.
2013. Yeah, I said one of the local teams played
it was Spirit
in the state finals. I think they won. Did they win that game?
No, DePaul won 35-16.
Bummer. All right. What else we got going on? Flyers tonight against the Leafs. I know that's coming up tonight. I'm doing all this off the top of my head today.
Craig Berube in town.
Yeah, Schreiner's going to the game tonight there, Josh.
Yeah, so I heard.
He's got Chief and Talk tonight.
And he's going to meet up with Chief after the game.
Of course he is.
Now, you would think Nuggets would have dropped that nugget in there.
Yeah, he should have dropped it.
He didn't give us a Flyers nug today. Bad job out of Earnshaw.
You know, I don't think Flyers are that high on the scale for Knicks Nuggets.
No?
They should be.
No, come on. Nuggets and I went to a Temple, East Carolina football game, and he left me to go to a Flyers game.
Well, because he likes to go to games. He's a big
game
go
guy.
to game, get the game memorabilia. You know, like when you guys go to Super Bowl, Radio Row is going to buy half the team store again.
Everybody bought something last year but me.
We bought those quarter zips.
Yep.
And
You
we're
still
still
wear
wearing
it?
them today. Yep. It's got that Eagles logo on
We'll
there.
close out the show next at Chickies and Pete's, Tropicana, Atlantic City.
You're listening to The Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, a couple things before we get out of here. According to some reports, the negotiation between Alec Boehm and the Phillies got a little bumpy. I imagine it went something like this. Hey, Alec, we're trying to trade you. Just sign the deal.
You don't want to be here. We don't want you here. Sign on the dotted line.
That would be one. Two, according to reports, Matt Gelb of The Athletic says the Phillies have a meeting set up with Bo Bichette. Here's the thing. That gets out there that you're having a meeting with Bo Bichette. You got everybody riled up. You can't let him walk out of here, can you?
No, sir. You got Donnie Baseball in the fold now.
You got a full court press that guy.
Relationship with him. Yep. There's too much smoke now.
You got to come home with Bo Bichette. That's the only way. It's the only way you can get out of this thing, right? What else did I have on my list of things that I wanted to discuss real quick? Oh, how about this Cooper DeJean? Looks like he is fraternizing with one of the DeBella twins.
Nikki. Yeah, Nikki.
Yeah.
John Cena's ex.
Good for her, man.
Just having a good time, man.
Why not? Just a couple bad decisions before the wild card game. Right? I used to have a football coach when I was like in 8th grade, 7th grade. I'd be at my girlfriend's house, like 7th grade girlfriend. He's calling the house. It's bad for your legs. Like I'm in 7th grade, bro.
I think Cooper DeJean was like 3 years old when John Cena first became champion or something crazy like that.
Crazy stuff. Flyers tonight against the Leafs. It's on 97.3 ESPN. That's all I got. You had any of the Cooper DeJean cereal yet?
No. Got to try that.
Gonna try that. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Happy Hour Friday.